Just
एक second. And we are live, guys, for the final round of the Freestyle Grenke Masters. And here we see Aryan Chopra on our screens. And you know why? Because Aryan Chopra is playing against Magnus Carlsen, guys.
oh, immense for the young guy from New Delhi who's now in the States studying like you did, Harshit, and both of you in Grenke. Aryan in the last round facing the goat of chess, Magnus Carlsen. If he wins, he has a chance for a podium finish.
What a match we have in front of us. We can see Aryan is wearing the St. Louis University jersey here as Magnus sits down on the board. And the biggest clash, the clash for the championship, is between Maxime Vacher-Lagrave and between Vincent Keimer. The
Vincent,
winner, sorry,
I have shared it. Acha.
so that's the clash that we have, guys. And we can see Abudha in the background. Yes.
Oh, and we have kickoff. We have some moves on the board already. So let's get the board on the screen so that we can analyze the starting position a bit and discuss what Magnus has played.
And we
Yes,
can
there we
see
go. This is the beginning position.
Let's go.
For all of the new viewers who today missed the candidate stream, and that's why here we are covering the Freestyle Open in Grenke, Karlsruhe, where goats like Magnus Carlsen, Levon Aronian, Vincent Keimer are playing in the same open tournament as a 1950 rated player and above. This is a huge chance for all chess players to play in the same hall as these elites. We are already in the final round today. It's a classical event with a time control of 1 hour 30 minutes with 30-second increment from move 1. But what makes it really special is that it is freestyle chess. Harshit, we have this position in front of us today. What do you make of it? The king on e1, rook in the corner, but all other pieces in different positions.
Yes, I think that this is a very unique position because the rook being on b1 does make it a little bit, different because usually we had seen the rooks on the flank on a1 and h1, and then we knew that we could develop it with a4. So I'm curious to see how Magnus will try to develop his rook, but he starts with f4, and this move has a very clear threat. The threat is to capture the pawn on a7 with the queen, and Aryan is like, I'm going to defend it. He goes for b6, and these are the two moves that have been made. And what a opportunity it is for Aryan to be playing against Magnus in the final round, guys. And so lucky to have the cameras as well.
Absolutely. Magnus Carlsen won the eighth round game against Nodirbek Yakuboy, while Aryan Chopra defeated Vladimir Fedosiev to reach here on the top board. The Magnus board is fixed on the top board, and that's why we have them playing here, while the tournament leaders, Vincent and MVL, play on board 5, which is the board dedicated to the local hero Vincent Keimer, who's leading the tournament.
Yes, maybe we can check the leaders' games here, and it is between Vincent and Maxim, as you said, and maybe we can get those cameras as well to see which opening they have made. And this is one of the views where you can see four camera angles. You can see Vincent on the top there. He is looking very sharp here with the black pieces. And guys, Magnus Carlsen is on 6.5. So the standings are like Vincent and MVL on the top with 7. Magnus on 6.5. If Magnus wins and Vincent draws, then there are three players on 7.5, but Magnus has the best tie breaks. So actually, Magnus wins the event.
Like Magnus said in the World Blitz Championship, you can never count me out. And that's true for him in every single tournament that he plays. However, a unique position in front of us, like you pointed out, Harshit, f4 was played in MVL's game as well. F4, and black should not blunder the a7 pawn away. It does open the queen's path looking at a7 pawn, and the rook being on b8 makes rook being on b8 doesn't help black because the a7 pawn is now undefended. So black has to play b6, and white responds with b4, opening up a rook, bishop, and maybe the knight coming to b3.
Yes, this is quite an interesting approach chosen by Maxim. One that I kind of vouch for because you do want to develop your knight to b3, but at the same time, the bishop on b2 would be quite a nice piece there, eyeing the pawn on g7. But Vincent is ready with his move. I could kind of see in Vincent's eyes that Vincent has prepared his next move. You also see Jan Nepomniachtchi playing against Buddy Pranav in the camera below. And by the way, f5 played by Vincent. He now attacks the white pawn on a2.
which needs to be defended. Knight b3 might be the move that MVL goes for. Or will he go for a pawn sacrifice with bishop to b2,
Ooh.
which actually will blunder away a lot of pieces or not? What do you think of this move, Harshit? Bishop
Yeah,
b2.
I am somehow not a big fan of this because queen a2 and then the rook on b1 is undefended. If the rook moves, the bishop on b2 is undefended. And I have a feeling Maxime won't take such a big risk in the beginning of this important match just to set the stage. Final round, winner of this match wins 60,000 euros, approximately 70 lakh rupees, as well as a spot in the Freestyle World Championship in Weissenhaus next year.
Amazing. I mean, incredible prize fund for an open tournament. We also have the women players playing for the top three spots in the women. The highest placed three female players will be qualified for next year's Freestyle Women's World Championship 2027. So that's exciting as well. Let us see how Harika is doing, by the way. Harika is in.
She's on board three. Soumya because she's playing against Jobawa and she's currently the highest ranked female player in the entire tournament. So she's playing on the stage. And what a nice gesture by the organizer to put the best female player on the top on the big stage here in the final round.
That's amazing. I mean, this is what sets certain organizers apart. You know, they are able to appreciate the small nuances in the that enhances the value of that tournament. We really appreciate this by the organizers that we have Harika playing on board two today. So we have her camera as well.
Yes, and she takes on Badur Jobawa, and they also have the complete same opening like the game in Vincent and MVL. So after b4, f4, b6, b4, f5, chosen by Harika. Harika has so far played the same move like Vincent. Jobawa going for knight b3, and now Harika is thinking if she draws or wins, she retains a chance to qualify for the World Championship match in Weissenhaus. And here she moves the bishop on b7. Guys, I have to tell you, she was playing one of the last games in the last rounds, more than 4.5 hours of gameplay by Harika, and she finally won in a bishop knight endgame, a fantastic conversion, and less than 1 hour later, she is on the big stage playing against Jobawa.
Incredible. And we also have another Indian in the top five boards, Harshit. We have Pranav. Pranav playing against Nepo in this round. I was a bit confused there to see the pairing because I remember Nepo playing another Indian player, but that was Leon in the previous round. And now he's facing Pranav in the final game. Pranav unfortunately lost his eighth round against MVL, but it was chaos on the board. It could have gone either way. It went MVL's way. So now we have Buddy Pranav on 6 points out of eight. Seven would be great.
7 would be just too good by Buddy. And what a nice opportunity for him to play against players like MVL and Jan Nepomniachtchi in back-to-back games. Here, Pranav is playing with the black pieces, which means Jan Nepomniachtchi did get a double white. He was playing against Leon with the white pieces in the last game as well. So a nice color break for him in the last round.
The game opened with f4. So f4 seems to be the universal favorite in this position because all the players are prioritizing opening up the queen as soon as possible. F4 followed by knight b6 this time. Not b6, but knight to b6. c4 by Nepo. d6 preventing any kind of c5 ideas, and b3.
And b3 played by Jan, protecting the c4 pawn, also wanting to develop his bishop on b2. The other bishop can go to c2. And now Pranav needs to decide whether he is ready to break in the center with e5, whether he wants to include this move bishop to f5 to hit the rook on b1. These look like some of the candidate moves that come to my mind.
Bishop f5 looks super tempting because it also prevents bishop c2. On the other hand, bishop to f5, d3 will be played, blocking the bishop, and e4 comes with a tempo. So it's a give and
Soumya,
take.
yeah, d3, e4 doesn't really seem like something I want to allow as I suggest this move bishop f5. But I have a question. Is g5 a crazy idea here? Does it make any sense if black goes for this move pawn to g5?
Wow. Are
And
you serious?
I'm serious because bishop b2, I just want to play g takes f4. And I want to give up my exchange, Soumya, because I feel that I have very good compensation here.
हर रोज हर राउंड में हमें एटलीस्ट 5 लोग क्वेश्चन पूछते हैं, हर्षित भाई आप ये टूर्नामेंट क्यों नहीं खेल रहे हो? एंड आज मेरा भी आपसे यही सवाल है, आप ये टूर्नामेंट क्यों नहीं खेल रहे हो? इतनी अच्छी मूड ढूंढी है आपने, वाह! Great strategic idea here to give up the exchange for the dark squared bishop. He
And a
also
pawn.
won a pawn.
And he goes for it. Buddy goes for it. He did sacrifice a piece in the last game. It did not work out. But this time around, this idea of g5 might work in his favor. Let's go, buddy. Oof.
G5, a brave move. One of the best moves probably in the position. Ah, takes great insight to come up with such a move so quickly as both of you did here.
And Soumya, I'm very curious to see the reaction of Nepo as he sits down on the chair and sees this move g5 because it is unusual. And look at Duda here. He's like, ये क्या move चला इसने? He was walking and then suddenly he paused. He's like, 1 second, g5, and let's see Nepo's reaction. I'm sure he will make some reaction.
No
No,
reaction.
no
He
reaction. Goes bishop
expected it.
b2. मारो f4 को.
He expected it, Harshit.
But I don't know if he expected gf4. Maybe he expected something like f6 in this position. But Pranav has different intentions, I'm sure. I think Pranav has intentions of sacrificing here. He loves to do it. Let's go, buddy.
Already in the fourth move, an exchange sacrifice coming up on Pranav's board.
Vamos. Nice position today. Yes. Guys, very nice position today. And look at Vincent here. He wants to know whether buddy can sacrifice an exchange here. I think he can. I think he will. And he's eyeing that pawn. Man, f6 is too passive, buddy.
F6 is too passive, unlikely to be played. I mean, G5 was not played to play F6 on the next move. That is for sure.
Yeah. And no, he goes f6. Arey yaar. You know, I feel Soumya because he sacrificed in the last game, it didn't work out. He wanted to be solid this time. Arey no, yaar, buddy.
But what do you make out of this structure, Harshit? I mean,
No,
I get that you don't approve of this move, but I'm just curious. How does a top grandmaster decide to come up with a structure like this? With his bishop still on d8?
it's psychological, Soumya. You know, if you gave Pranav this position any other round, he would have taken on f4. But just because he also sacrificed in the last game, I don't think he wanted to do the same this round.
Yeah, I think that's unfortunate. I mean, it's so much of his style to actually go for GF4 Some days you don't feel like it and you opt for the other move, which might not actually be the best decision. Let's see how the game progresses. F6 and Nepo replies with E3. So, too many pawns on dark squares on this board already.
Yeah. I mean, guys, it's not like Pranav is much worse or anything, but it's just that I feel G takes F4 was kind of, required, like the position demanded us to take on F4. And also, practically, I think Pranav, it suited his style. But okay, Pranav will still keep fighting in this game. It's just the beginning of the game here. And after E3, Buddy is thinking about his next decision. I'm curious to go back to our leaders game somewhere. Because this game does decide who will win the tournament between Vincent and Maxime. As you can see, Vincent is walking.
So let's go back one move because we saw f4 b6 happen on the board and MVL went for b4. Black replied with f5 here, and we were looking at knight b3, which did occur, and then knight to g6, attacking f4. This is a live position on the board.
Mhm. So I guess white will go queen f2 and then try to move his knight and castle short. That looks quite reasonable.
In f2, move the knight to e3 or g3 and castle short. E3 most probably. Here, a move like g3 would not be good because over there g5 was, showing a bit of attitude. यहाँ पे g3 not doing much. Bishop b7, bishop h1 आके हम exchange खा लेंगे, and black is completely fine.
Yeah.
In that position, g5 was already with a threat, and that is why it was so strong.
Yes, it also won a very important pawn. The pawn on f4 in that case, the pawn on f5 in this case. And that's why I think it's time for white to be, just very solid here and make the move queen to f2. I suppose, I suppose MVL is also calculating knight to g3 himself. And the point being that if black takes the pawn on f4 to, to then play queen f2 or to then play a move like t3. So knight g3, knight f4 and then queen f2, that seems to be quite decent.
So you don't want to support the pawn on f4. That's interesting for me. Like, I would assume that white would automatically go queen f2, but white is thinking, and that's why you feel that he's going to maybe go knight g3 instead.
Yeah, because we want to force ourselves to calculate moves besides the obvious moves. If we only make the obvious moves, we will never be able to come up with something creative. And here I feel knight g3 is a creative approach of playing. Because if black takes the pawn on f4, look, he spends two moves to take my pawn and I go queen f2, I develop with a tempo. I develop with a tempo, and once the knight goes back to g6, let's say, and whenever I take the pawn on f5, queen f7 does not really attack my knight because my knight is already defended. So if you think about it, white gained two moves here. So this is the reason why I feel MVL will go for knight g3.
Very well explained there. So we must come up with creative ways to counter our opponent's threats. That is what will help us force them. What that is what will help us create a new game on the board instead of the same old
Oh,
Isabatast. What do
actually,
you think?
one person makes a very cool comment that it's very similar to Petrov. Exactly, Gokireza. Yeah, e4, e5, knight f3, knight f6. Because after knight f3, we don't defend our pawn, but we counter attack the pawn. So yes, yes. So knight g3 here, I think will be Maxime's choice. And then queen f7 will be played by Vincent. And now we might be forced to go queen f2, but let's not uh, let's not constrain
Is
ourselves.
knight h5 possible, Harshit?
Knight h5, I feel it's a bit um, like I have to be careful about e5 after knight h5.
E5.
Yeah, because after fe knight e5, black develops his knight with a tempo.
Mhm.
So I think queen f7 will be met with queen f2 very likely.
Got it. So this is a very interesting position. Maxime taking a lot of time on the board. So let us have a look at what's happening in the other games so far. We have Levon Aronian playing on board
Mhm.
6. I doubt if we have his camera,
Yeah,
but
we don't have his camera actually.
it's always fun to see
Yes,
what the
yes, for
artist
sure.
is creating on the board. He opens with f4, knight to b6, c4. So knight c4 will be met with queen a7 and the rook cannot be protected. f5 and d3
And
supporting
you
the c.
know,
Hmm.
as I was walking inside the playing hall in the starting few minutes, and Levon played this decision in within 1 minute of thinking, and this just tells me that Levon has somehow like this higher understanding of these freestyle positions. And I also spent some time talking about freestyle with him in private, and he did say that it's one of his favorite formats, is one of the it's one of the best games that he has ever played. And I think Ivan Saric will face a very difficult time playing against the creative genius of Levon.
e3, Levon has played d3 and black response with c6, bishop to b3, d5, pawn takes, knight to c2, and bishop d7, the life position on the board. Black has a pawn in the center and one in the extended center. However, it seems to be better for white.
I think, guys, it's the weak e5 square. There is a hole on the e5 square for black as compared to the e4 square, which is controlled by the d3 pawn, that gives white the advantage. And this is why Levon has such a good position here. I think white can think of playing something like bishop d2 now. He can even consider knight d2 to f3, rerouting the knight towards the more central square. And I think white has a very easy position to play. It's positional. I don't see any pawn breaks for black, so I'm expecting Levon. I'm predicting Levon to win this game.
Oh, already.
Yes.
Because of the control on the e5 square, you think it's going to be the decisive factor.
Also because black doesn't really have any active counterplay. The knight on b6 is completely restricted by my bishop on b3 and pawn on d3. The knight on c2 is superior because it can go to d4 at any moment. So considering all of these factors, I do think Levon should be able to win this.
Okay, fair enough. We will come back and see what happens here. Now
Mhm.
let's have a look at another Indian player, Murli Karthikeyan, who's playing Hans Niemann on board 7.
Ooh.
And they started the game in a completely different manner. Both the players have do not agree with the with the common setup that all the other players have gone for f4 and c4. White starts with c3 instead, preferring to open up the bishop
Yeah, he
via
goes for a unique approach.
f5 by Hans.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what white played here, Harshit?
Bishop c2.
Not bishop c2, but bishop b3. That was, in fact,
Ah.
the point of c3. Playing against f5,
Mm-hmm.
e6 on the board. And white now went for another unexpected idea, h4.
Wow. Murli is using all of his imagination in this game. I guess pawn on h4, he wants to go h5, and then uh, he wants to go push h6 as well to gain some space. We have seen this idea before. It's a typical idea to push Harry the h pawn down the board.
It also makes a room for your queen, no, to come out, h4.
Hmm. Very nice point.
I,
Yes.
maybe that is one reason why h4 was preferred. And black responded with h5. So both the players with a unique approach to this position. Ah, देखते
Yeah.
हैं.
I think it will be very interesting to see what with Karthi has in mind. Maybe he wants to go d3, knight c2 next, or knight
Mhm,
h2, knight f3. The idea that you highlighted to play slightly more positionally,
mhm.
and this game is going to be quite interesting to follow. But let's go to MVL's game, Soumya, our
Yes.
leader's game, where Vincent had attacked the pawn on f4, and no move yet by Maxime.
Yeah, MVL has gone into a deep think here.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so we considered knight g3, we considered queen f2. Let's look at other possibilities here. Is g4 such a bad move?
But Soumya, it weakens our king too much, no? Like, oh, he goes bishop b2.
Oh, he finally plays a move, and it is bishop to b2, ignoring the attack on f4. Uh-huh. So knight to f4, it's
Ah, knight f4, he can actually play this move knight g3. And if you see this variation, knight g3, e6, queen to d4 is a move, queen f2 is a move. Let's consider queen f2. And Soumya, the point is if you go knight g6, I have knight h5 now.
and you attack my g7 point, which is a bigger weakness than the f4 pawn, because once I get g7, I also get to your king.
Exactly. Done. And if you play knight d5 here, then after knight d5, I want to break open the position with e4. Well, at least that was my idea. And then if fe4, Soumya, bishop to h5 check. Boom.
Ah, this is beautiful. This is some beautiful piece of analysis here, Harshit. G6 will be met with bishop h8, I suppose, or you, yes, bishop h8 is possible, or you had another idea in mind.
To be honest, I think we don't need to rush it. Let me think here. I think we might be also okay to drop back with our bishop. And the point is that the rook on h8 cannot be defended. We want to do double O next, short castle. And this just looks menacingly strong for white.
King is a bit insecure on e8 with the attack, with the f file being in white's control, the diagonal being opened up. एक pawn, सिर्फ एक pawn के लिए हमें बहुत कुछ मिल गया in return. So this is a fantastic idea by white, bishop to b2.
Yeah. And I don't think Vincent will accept the bait. I think Vincent will now over defend the pawn on f5 with queen to f7. So queen f7 very likely to happen.
But what's the difference if I go knight g3 anyway
Well, you don't have to take the pawn on f4.
and I go knight h5 next?
Yes, but I mean, black does always have the option of playing h5 himself. So
Mm-hmm.
h5, but the problem is it can run into e4.
Yeah, exactly. That's was my problem with a move like h5, that my bishop is really well placed on d1 to counter black's h5's ideas.
Yeah, so bishop b2 actually does ask serious questions to black's position. हम्म गाइस क्या मजा आ रहा है यार लास्ट गेम में आई एम एक्चुअली वेरी कीन टू नो हु विल विन दिस इवेंट Magnus is also having a similar position against Aryan Chopra. Maybe
Yeah, we
he will
should go
take.
there. We should go there, Harshit, because they had almost the same position, right? Knight b3, knight g6. Actually, the exact same position. And here Magnus went for queen f2. He does
Mhm.
not go for bishop b2 or knight g3 ideas, but simply defends the pawn after a 10-minute thought. And black responds with bishop b7.
I like this move by Aryan. I really like this move by Aryan because now if knight g3, black wants to play knight to h4. Well, the variation continues as always. Pawn to e4. This time is going to be white's defensive resource, and after f takes e4 to simply castle shot.
Really? I thought you want
Yeah,
to take on e4, but no, you want to castle shot, allowing e3 because it
yeah.
doesn't
Because
matter.
here's I feel like white is just extremely ahead in development, so I was not too afraid of this. I think taking with the queen would be quite strong, but even this looks really good for white. Yeah. So bishop b7, knight h4. Maybe Aryan Chopra missed this resource of e4 with white. Uh-huh.
But knight g3 has not been played. He has only played bishop b7, and
Ah, okay, okay.
he need not go knight h4.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
he can continue with. Can he play queen d5 here
Queen
and then
d5.
castle?
And now if short castles, what's your idea?
I
Because
wanted
if
to
knight
castle.
f4, I have e4.
Okay, let's show this. Knight f4 is not working because of e4 intermezzo. You do not pick up the knight immediately. So knight f4, Harshit wants to checkmate me in one move. This was a nice trick here, but it doesn't work because of e4, and after you take, white can take on f4. So what we had in mind was not knight f4, but short castle ourselves.
Yes, short castles. But now I think white can think of playing the move pawn to d3 or pawn to e3. I think pawn to e3 is also quite strong, but then knight h4 is a problem. So I guess
Ah,
d3 followed by e4 is more powerful.
some really good ideas for both the sides, but mainly white here. Black will need to find a way to, well, get his king to safety and develop his pieces without worsening his position. It's always black's task in the opening.
And I'm trying to sit a bit farther away from my laptop and look at the position, and I feel more creative somehow.
The blood is flowing well to your brain because of your posture.
Yes.
Magnus Carlsen's favorite thinking pose. Bishop to b7, and Magnus is thinking, while we are also thinking what he's thinking.
We are thinking about what he's thinking. And completely locked in here, Magnus. He can play knight g3 here. And I think he will play knight g3. That's my prediction, Soumya, that Magnus goes for it.
No, 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 not yet. He has not made a move. I'm making it on
No,
the
no,
board.
I'm saying I'm predicting him to go for
Ah,
it.
okay. So knight g3 is Harshit's prediction. Mm, by the way, maybe it's time for a small poll in the chat. Who do you think is going to win the tournament? Is it Vincent? Is it MVL? Or is it Magnus Carlsen? क्या लगता है आपको कौन जीतेगा टूर्नामेंट?
They think winner will be decided by tie breaks. Guys, I think we will have an outright winner. This is my prediction.
Is there a tie break if a lot of players tie for the first position, Harshit?
It's a great question, Soumya.
Great question, which doesn't have too many answers here. Let's check.
I think tie breaks is book holes, right? Let's go, guys. So the poll is now live. Who will win this tournament? Magnus, Vincent, or MVL? Or do you think it will be someone else?
Could be someone else. Maybe Aryan wins the tournament due
What?
to a turnaround of events. It could
It's
happen, no?
possible. If Aryan Chopra wins this tournament, Soumya, I will, just leave everything and start working for Aryan Chopra.
Oh, I thought, I thought, what I thought to myself? That Sagar always bets his house. No, I thought you will say, I will buy Sagar's house.
Sagar Bhai always puts his house on stake. I won't do that because I don't have a house that I own.
So there is no tiebreak rule on the website, apparently. Maybe. Okay, I'm checking.
Jinke says he thought I will sing if Aryan wins, but I think then everyone will leave. Yeah. Well, Soumya will leave anyway. So.
I think any day you feel you're too tired of me, Harshit, you can just sing for me.
But Soumya, actually, we can do a dance together. I think if Aryan Chopra wins in celebration, I think that will be amazing.
Yeah, good. That's a very fair and happy bet to make. Everyone's
Because
happy.
no one would be expecting it, and that would just be epic. But okay, he's playing against Magnus, guys, so वो ध्यान में रखना है. Magnus is thinking, and generally, Soumya, अगर
Mhm.
कोई और सोचता हो ना, then I'm
Mm.
like, oh, okay, my opponent is thinking, let him think.
Mm.
He's probably going to make a mistake. But when Magnus thinks, थोड़ा डर लगता है क्योंकि Magnus will come up with something crazy when he thinks for a long time.
Yes. Honestly, I don't see the tiebreak rules on the regulations, so I believe it is book holes. Maybe someone in the chat or our producer G can let us know. Yes, there is no tiebreak rule written in the regulation. So we will find out at the end of the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Usually in open tournaments, it's book holes. So you can simply check on chess results and find out who won the tournament.
And actually, so it is book holes, guys. So basically, if Magnus wins and it is a draw between Vincent and MVL,
Hmm.
then Magnus Carlsen will be the winner of this tournament because
Hmm.
of better book holes, which is basically a tiebreak metric. By the way, Soumya, I have to also, by Bishop, while Magnus is thinking, take your attention to the
Hmm.
game of Pranav, Buddy Pranav, who's playing against Jan Nepomniachtchi, because look at the last move by Buddy.
Okay, so we left it after e3
Yes,
and we're questioning what is Black's plan with the pawns.
I'll
Bishop
go
came to
back
f5.
to my thinking pose.
Bishop came to f5. Bishop c2. Bishop trade offered because yes, why not? The dark squared bishop is blocked behind its own pawns, so it makes sense for white to offer a trade of the light squared bishops. Takes, takes. Oh, and d5 by Pranav.
Exactly. How many times would we, play the same pawn twice in the opening and for it to also be correct? And I think the point is that white is left with a dark squared bishop, and yeah, and Pranav is basically trying to now challenge the light squared pawns, the pawn on c4. If you take on d5, queen takes d5, suddenly the light squares are weak.
Ah. So it's very good timing. White offered a bishop trade, black took it, and now black is going to play on light squares instead.
Guys, we need to send the energy to Pranav and to Aryan Chopra, who are giving their best in this tournament. They are playing on the stage. There is also Leon and Harika playing on the stage. क्या crazy खेल रहे हैं यार इंडियंस ये tournament में सौम्या.
Absolutely. I think it's amazing that all the Indians are performing so well over here. That's what we were discussing before we started the stream as well. Like there is Murli Karthikeyan here, there is Harika, Leon playing great. Nihal also, by the way, playing quite well. He is playing against Benjamin Boak. Maybe we can have a look at how he's been doing so far. He's
Yes.
played some creative games in this tournament. He's playing black here against Benjamin Bock. F4, knight b6 on the first move. C4, d6,
Mhm.
d3, and e5. b4, black responded with f5 already. And white plays c5. बस pawn मूव ही की है white ने. पीसेस भी है बोर्ड पर. कोई याद दिला दे white को. It
D5.
seems like a game of checkers, no? सिर्फ pawn moves ही खेल रहे हो आप.
Yeah, it proceeds. Black goes for knight d5 or कहाँ गया knight? Is d5.
Yeah,
Oh, he's
knight.
thinking.
Oh, he took on d5.
Oh,
It took
he
on
took.
c5. Sorry.
Okay. Takes.
Not yet. White has
Oh, he's
not yet.
thinking.
Yes.
But dc5 is a little strange, no, Soumya? Because you do want to keep that pawn chain on c7, d6, e5 intact.
I agree. I was also wondering if we should go knight d5 directly or even knight to d7. But knight d7 I did not like because it blocks my bishop. And that's why knight d5 seemed like a better move. It also counters this bishop b3 idea for the moment.
Yeah, I actually did have dinner with Nihal yesterday. He was enjoying himself in this tournament, but on the other hand, he also said that playing 2 rounds a day can sometimes be a bit challenging. So here, Nihal going for this approach d takes c5. By the way, I could see on the camera that Magnus played pawn to h4. It felt like.
Oof. Okay, we will go to that board. Let's uh let's just summarize what's happening here. D takes c5. I think white is likely to take back with the pawn, and knight d5 might be met with bishop to b3. That's my guess here. What do you think, Harshit?
Yeah, I mean, after 95, bishop b3 looks like a good move. There is can also be just f takes e5 because we were
Another pawn.
afraid of knight c3, but then we go bishop b3.
Also, if we can move a pawn, we will move a pawn in this game. So that's yeah, it's a great idea actually to just simply pick up a pawn. Why not? So we will see what is happening. D takes e5 might not be have been the best decision by black. White अभी मैग्नस के बोर्ड पे जाते हैं. मैग्नस ने h4 खेला है instead of knight g3 after how many minutes of thought? 12 minutes of thought, Harshit.
Yeah, Magnus goes for h4. Aryan Chopra is completely focused. He knows he needs to play precisely in the starting few moves to not get into trouble against Magnus h4. The idea is simple. He wants to keep the knight on g6 with h5 here. So black needs to respond to this threat. An active idea would be pawn to e5.
Yeah, absolutely. The move I've been looking at as well. Not sure if it works. Because e5, h5, knight f4. And we are super happy to get this position. Obviously, white will not allow this. So white is likely to take instead.
White is likely to take the pawn on e5, which then leaves us with some options here. But the problem is that the f5 pawn is also falling. So we will have to sacrifice a pawn. Here, play a move like queen to f7 or queen to e6 and go for quick development.
Queen e6. Yeah, queen e6 might run.
Knight d4, huh?
Yeah, exactly. I'm just not sure actually. Knight d4, whether we want to allow or not.
Yes, maybe not.
So maybe queen f7. Not the best move, but okay, let's see. Queen f7 seems a pretty decent move to make. We are threatening knight e5 next. It
Maybe
might
white
play
king
d4.
d4. Yeah. Man, h4 is such a creative move. I mean, we have seen this idea before, but I was not exactly expecting it in this position. And if black goes h5, let's try to understand if black copies white, then what's the problem?
Good question. Okay then. Let's see.
e4 is a move.
E4. Okay, so let's eliminate the obvious bishop e4 here. Bishop e4 will run into
Knight
knight
g3.
to g3. And we are attacking h5 and e4 at the same time. Apparently, this is also okay for black. Why? Queen d5, maybe. Queen e6. But queen e6 runs into knight d4. Okay. And 5 might run into bishop h5. Not sure if this works out well.
Yeah, this
Apparently,
is
it's all okay. Apparently, it's all okay for black, Harshit. 6, huh? No.
this is very complicated position actually.
No. This is definitely bad, right? To go king
Yeah.
f7.
So
d3. Okay.
after h4, let's try to understand. I think it's very likely that Aryan will play something like e6. I think that's like a more natural move to me.
e6. But you're allowing h5.
Because what to do? I think h5, I don't really want to play h5 myself. If I don't play h5 myself, I have to allow h5. And now I want to drop back with my knight to f8. It's sad, but I don't see what else to do.
I think this might not be the greatest way to play against Magnus Carlsen, Harshit. Maybe we just need to spend some time and find a better,
Way to
better
play,
option
yeah?
here.
Uh-huh. Yeah, Aryan is completely locked in. Guys, do you have any suggestions about what black should play here? Do you have any ideas? How can black play this position? Because we are struggling to understand what black should play. Because also playing a move like h5 feels scary.
Oh, no, but I had this ridiculous idea, but it definitely doesn't work. I'll just show it to the chat. E5 takes, and my idea was to go knight takes h4, rook takes, bishop takes, and my mind was only calculating queen into g2. but then bishop h4. And this is fantastic. But the point is that white will not take on g2 and simply move the bishop, move the rook away, and this is all good, white. So these tactics don't really work out.
Yeah. Generally, also tactics seem to favor the person who's better developed. And here I do think that white is slightly better developed, even though the black knight is on g6. It's likely to be kicked away with h5. So I'm not sure what Aryan should play. I think actually Aryan is in trouble here, Soumya. It seems to be a bit early to say that, but considering how much we are struggling to come up with an idea for black, I do think that he is in some trouble.
Okay, we will wait for black to make his move then. We can conclude that black is in trouble. Let us go to Harika's game, who is playing Badur Jobava. She is
Ooh.
playing for the top female prize in the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
And she seems to have got a very decent position with black, Harshit.
So how did she do it? How-
F4, B6, B4, F5 happened, knight to B3, bishop B7, and white responded with the same move as MVL. Oh no, bishop B7 was not. Okay, bishop to B2, knight G6, and queen F2.
Okay.
E5 on the board by Harika. A pawn
E5.
sacrifice.
Wow. This is creative stuff by Harika. And if FE5, she wants to go bishop to H4. Wow. This is well done by her. Because if knight G3, she has F4 and she is just winning here. And if white goes G3, then white loses the rook on H1. Yeah.
E5 very well timed there.
And I guess Chobava did not take the pawn.
He did not, and he played E3 instead, keeping the position solid.
Was
And
E3.
solid and Jobava usually don't go together, but here he chooses to do just that.
But we can go bishop H4 and maybe switcheroo.
Hmm.
Switcheroo kangaroo. But then Fe and the F4 square is controlled. So maybe I can take on F4 first and then go long castle. That makes sense.
Ah,
By
take,
the way, yes,
take,
takes and long castle.
long castle. And now
Yeah.
it is a possible way to play probably, but my bishop B E2.
Mhm.
No, bishop E2 is okay for. I'm wondering why is this bad?
Queen D4 could no queen D4 bishop F6.
Yes, and also G2 is hanging. I think short castle
Mhm. Short castle and
and
guys, it's
bishop
not
F3 next.
easy to understand, but it is the knight on 8, which is the problem in black's position. The reason why white is better. So E3 and Harika should still continue to play some accurate moves to get closer to equality, but she does have a good position from the opening. And Aryan Chopra responds with pawn to H5.
Oh, fantastic. H5 on the board, but I do think this is a decent way to play Harshit unless it loses immediately, which we did not find, right? We did not find any clear tactics for black here, white here after H5.
I mean, white is not winning immediately, but strategically speaking, it does look kind of good for white here. And it all boils down to that knight on 8. Because white got b4, knight b3. Black का knight 8 का कहाँ पे जाएगा?
Hmm.
Guys, same doubt. E6 for Aryan. Yeah, E6 and long castle. People are rooting for Vincent. People are loving Magnus. But the situation is that Magnus cannot win this tournament if there is a result between Vincent and MVL.
Knight on 8 is a pity, and actually, both in Harika as well as Aryan's position, the knight on being on 8 is the reason why black could have to be very, very accurate. What about Vincent and MVL. Over
Let's
there
check.
as well, the knight on A8 is the problem. So this whole idea with F4 B6, all the games where white went F4 on the first move and black responded with B6 resulted in black having to deal with the problem of the A8
Mhm.
knight.
Exactly.
वैसे बिशप B2 को विंसेंट ने F4 pawn खाया नहीं, but he went bishop to B7 and white replied with queen F2 and it's Vincent's move to make.
Yeah, he hasn't made his move yet. He's thinking for more than 20 minutes. Magnus just made a, what, we have a draw? We already have a result
Oh
between
yes.
Sarana and Duda. And they just agreed to a draw, moving to 7 out of 9 each respectively, which is a very good result. I think both of them do guarantee themselves a good prize. And I think both of them decided that it's been a long and tough event. Let's make a draw and guarantee ourselves some prize, which is kind of logical, all things
Yes.
considered.
Yeah, I think it's very, very logical. Also, players need players play chess for a livelihood. So getting a good prize, getting a draw in the last round, assuring yourself of a good prize.
And guys,
Something happened in my house.
sorry?
Okay, you didn't hear that. That's fine. कैसे धाड़ करके आवाज आया मेरे पीछे, but it's okay.
Uh-huh.
Everything is fine. Knight to G6 and they agreed for a draw in this position. Yes, not much to play for either. It's a very equal position. Queens have gotten traded.
Yeah. So they
Fair
just
result. Yeah.
agreed for a draw there. Not much happened in that game. Guys, if there are multiple players with the same score, the person with better tie breaks will win the tournament. There won't be a blitz playoff.
Oh, and look at what Vincent has gone for against Maxime. He goes Queen D5.
Wow, this is a bold move. This move indicates that he is not afraid of ghosts. He wants to ask Vashir, hey, I'm bringing out my queen in the center. How are you going to take advantage of that? My question is, let me go knight e3. Let
And
me just attack your queen on d5, which you
I think
brought there.
he wants to respond with Queen E4, Harshit, and attack the F4 pawn.
But you know me, Soumya, I don't care about the b4 pawn. I will just castle.
Castle, and you're giving up the B4 pawn as but protecting the F4. I'm just wondering if I should also castle because if I take your B4 pawn, you take the pawn on F5 and then the pawn on G7 as well.
Exactly.
So let me think for a moment here. Maybe E6 is a move that comes to my mind. E6
Mhm.
with the threat to go knight H4 or bishop H4. Bishop H4 actually is a good threat here, no?
Oh, oh my goodness. Kya tricky, Soumya. Bishop h4 if I go g3.
I let's protect the pawn here. Guys, bishop H4. And if white plays G3, I'm not going to make the moves on the board.
Where
What
will
are you
you go
going to
back
play?
with the bishop? Will you go to f6 to trade it? Will you go back to e7? You can even go back with your bishop to d8 actually, Soumya.
क्या क्रिएटिव नेम है देखो चैट में. The one who found the move first.
अरे 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 हर्षित
अरे
रानी. Oh my God. SGK kills. Well done. अरे नाइट एफ फोर नहीं भाई, एबीसीडी फंस गए तुम हमारे ट्रैप में. क्वीन एच1 इज चेकमेट.
oopsie doopsie. The bishop is
सी.
suddenly too powerful, allowing this cute checkmate on H1. So, yes, E6. We are threatening bishop H4, but maybe D3. Kicking the bishop away, the queen away, sorry. And queen B4 will be met with. Oh, it seems it's okay, Harshit. Bishop G7 and rook G8.
Yes, bishop
Suddenly there are
g7.
tricks.
And not castling has actually worked out in
Worked
your
out.
favor here. Let's go back to the live position because it feels like MVL is about to play a move. He can, of course, just play the move pawn to e3. That remains to be a solid option.
Who do you think is gonna win the tournament? Guys, we have a poll. A poll खत्म हो गया क्या?
पोल चल रहा है सौम्या.
पोल
नहीं
चल रहा
देखते.
है ना? तो आप वोट करना जरूर, काई. एंड वी विल फाइंड आउट हु विल विन द टूर्नामेंट वेरी सून.
I'm not sure actually
Not
if
through
poll
the
is
poll.
happening. Maybe the
Not.
poll is done. Poll is going on. Okay, okay. Mia bhai, hi both of you. Thanks for such an amazing broadcast. Thanks a lot. We really enjoyed actually covering this event together because we had so many exciting games, so many, I mean, also a lot of fun actually to commentate with Soumya. Hopefully you guys also enjoyed, but we are not done yet. There is one more round going on.
Yes. And every position has been quite crazy, especially today. मॉर्निंग राउंड में भी ओपनिंग से ही कुछ गेम्स में बहुत खराब आ गई थी एक प्लेयर की. अभी भी it seems like players have to solve problems from move 2, move 3. Let's go to Buddy Pranav's game. हर्षित,
Mhm.
ये
Yes.
देखो
What is
क्या चल
happening?
रहा है इस गेम में. E4 has
Oh
been played, like
my.
both of them are playing very aggressive chess, dynamic chess, not backing down.
They both want to win badly here. It's clear by the way they are playing कि ये गेम ड्रॉ तो नहीं होने वाला है सौम्य. कोई तो जीतेगा. E4 hits the queen. If queen D7 पे गए तो D4 आ जाएगा.
Oh, um, tricky GBR1, thank you. It's the tiebreak is written. Buchholz is the tiebreaker in the open section, and that's confirmed. Thank you, tricky GBR1. वही मेरा confusion clear कर दिया आपने.
Mhm. Guys, do like the stream. The question on everyone's mind is if Magnus Carlsen can win this tournament again, or will it be someone between MVL and Vincent? Here, Buddy Pranav is also fighting for the top spots. E4, Queen C6. Let's say Queen goes back somewhere.
Hmm?
I think White is ready to somehow break open the position with D4. At least that's the feeling I get, that White wants to open the position because the Black King is still in the center.
Hmm. And you don't obviously care about pawns because you are going to go for the kill.
Yes, I can even
E5.
start with D5 as you were highlighting there, an intermediate move to take control.
Then knight to f5. This looks very dangerous and unimpressive for black. So black needs to find a better way to respond to e4 compared to queen c6. Win 7884 with a super chat. Thanks for the coverage. Round 8 was beautiful. Arey, thank you for watching the stream, Win. So e4 on the board, and maybe a better response could be queen to wondering queen to d7 because, oh no, I dislike queen d7 the moment I make it because queen d7 allows d4, and now we are taking d into c5 and opening the rook up, attacking the queen as well with a tempo. So not to d7, not to c6. जाए तो जाए कहाँ?
D3 maybe, but D4 को ही रोक लेते हैं. Just come to D3 so that White will never get D4. Win. Super chats. Thanks for the coverage. Round 8 was beautiful. Win. We had actually some crazy analysis in the last two rounds. And thanks a lot for your message. Queen D3, I think, is one of the only moves for Pranav. He is again burning a lot of time, which can be problematic in the future. Let's go to one of the top boards, Soumya, to see if we have any development there.
Okay, then. So let's first go to, oh no, Vincent's opponent. Yes, has made a move. E3 on MV by MVL here, allowing queen takes G2. Okay, then.
Soumya, you need to come up with these crazy moves if you want to be a winner in this tournament. And what an idea MVL has come up with. I think we will get his camera as well. If you take on G2, and yes, we see here Vincent Keimer all zoned in. He's trying to figure out what MVL wants. Guys, MVL ने pawn blunder नहीं किया है. If you take on G2, I think he wants to take back. If you take with the bishop, with the B, then I move my rook to G1, and then the G7 pawn is under attack. If you take there, king takes exactly. If you castle and say that अरे मैं तो pawn आपको सब कुछ बच गया, bishop h5, अब क्या करोगे?
Maybe even H4 could be strong, but yes, Bishop H5 also does a great job here. Ah, a lot of problems for black here, in fact. No matter
What
what.
lagi black chi?
Hmm. It's surprising कि मैंने आपका G2 पॉन मारा एंड आप मेरा अभी G7 पॉन खाओगे बट स्टिल मेरी पोजीशन क्यों खराब हो रही है यहाँ पर? इक्वल ट्रेड हुआ ना, इक्वल बार्टर हुआ. तो
बार्टर
why is
नहीं इक्वल.
black?
घोड़ा एट का क्योंकि निकल नहीं रहा है गेम में.
8 का घोड़ा काम करे थोड़ा. That is the problem. Has to come out.
Yeah, and MVL, Soumya, how it works in these tournaments, it's a bit I mean, it's not a bit I don't know if it's unfair, but just think about it. Vincent, for the entire tournament, he was 6 out of 6. He drew the seventh game with Magnus, a very clean and accurate game that both the sides played. In the eighth round, he had a chance to win against Sarana, but Sarana defended well. So he's on 7 out of 8, which is just an unbelievable result. And now he plays against MVL,
And
who has not played against Magnus. But
yes,
if MVL wins, he wins with 8 out of 9.
absolutely. And Vincent has gone for Queen G2 here, Harshit. Queen takes G2, Bishop G2. The line that we were covering might happen. Rook G1 on the board. Is Bishop F1 the culprit for Black's poor position in the previous line that we saw?Maybe we go back with our Bishop.
We
Or
go
come
back.
to H4 with our knight. That could
Oh,
also be a
and can
decent.
we show this variation? Oh
Yeah.
lala, Bishop G7, Rook G8, and array yaar, I cannot show it
Let's
somehow. Array yaar.
uh I know what you wanted here, but unfortunately, it doesn't work out well. Imagine, guys, the king was on C1.
F2 पे
Imagine,
रहता तो मजा ही आता था यार.
imagine if the king was on C1 here, what would be your move with white? Let's have
Yes.
some fun. Let's have some fun chat.
घोड़े
दादा
को
आणि
डिसरिस्पेक्ट मत करो गाइस.
वंडर किड सेज दादा आणि ताई प्लीज मॅग्नस गेम दाखवा ना पोराला बघू दे. येस, आम्ही जाणारच आहोत मॅग्नसच्या गेमवर.
Exactly. He finds it. Bevan Mehra finds the move. Rook takes G2. Boom. If you take with the knight, Bishop H5 is a mate. Don't take it in this position क्योंकि G2 का रुक चेक में चला जाएगा और फिर G7 का बिशप भी मर जाएगा.
Yes, only if the king was on C1, this was a really pretty idea. That worked out really well for white. Okay,
But
let's see what's happening in the game.
he
Rook
goes
G1,
back. Bishop D5.
bishop to D5. Maybe the best move in the position. Not knight H4, not bishop F1, but saving the bishop and going back to D5.
Mhm. And Maxim has not taken the pawn on G7 yet. What composure.
Play
Well,
H4 here. Harshit.
h4, but e5. You have to be careful about this
Hmm.
move that black can make out of nowhere. This can be a bit annoying to face. And I think here, Soumya, he might be considering something like d3 to push c4, because uh, if white gets to play d3 and c4, it does have a really nice bathtub structure with the extended pawn on b4. So it's kind of a long bathtub structure. Very relaxing.
You the one. Are you the one who's come up with this term, or you knew of it earlier?
I've heard it somewhere.
Amazing term this is. Anyway, bishop d5 and d3. Another pretty concept here shown by Harshit. We are not taking the pawn on g7. We are in no hurry to take it. Even though it is possible to do that, the g7 pawn is ours to take no matter what. Because short castle could be met with bishop h5 or h4.
Exactly. So castles can also met with c4, by the way. The
Yeah, but anytime, I mean, in this position, of course, our threat is c4, but anytime black tries to protect this pawn, we always have these two ideas in the air.
and what's the bathtub structure? Well, if you imagine white plays pawn to c4 after
Okay.
d3, then the c4, d3, e3, and f4, this structure, I kind of termed, or I've heard this term is like a bathtub structure, and it seems to be quite strong in this case. Okay,
What
so
would you
guys,
guys have called it? Let's ask the chat. I would have called it the C type structure.
mhm,
तो C जैसा बन जाता है ना सब ऐसे भी you need an option to draw on the board
you
actually.
can't do it. That's why it's the bathtub structure.
I would have called it, yes. Let's ask the chat. What would you name this pawn structure, guys? If not the bathtub, or you like that one? Okay, let's see what MVL has played. He has not yet made a move. U structure, हाँ थोड़ा बहुत U जैसा है. Four pawn, boat structure. Boat structure अच्छा है actually. Boomerang कैसे होगा?
Okay, I think that's a lot of terms, but for that, Maxim first needs to play this move d3, and he's thinking here, which means he's not rushing. He's not taking the pawn on g7, because Soumya, in
Hmm.
these positions, it's so natural to just immediately pick up the pawn on g7 without any thought.
Mm-hmm.
However, he is considering his options, and I really respect this approach by MVL. He's like, I might, be missing out on some options if I blitz out my move here. So he's thinking, let me just quickly check if there are any interesting updates on other boards.
I'm very keen to follow Pranav's game because,
Ah,
you know,
Pranav.
a lot of
Hmm.
action happening on this board, Harshit.
Yes.
E4, Queen C6 was Pranav's choice here, and F5 played by Nepo. Bishop to C7 and D4 on the board. This is the live game at the moment.
Hmm.
Half moon structure. Wow, that's my favorite name. I think I'm going to go with half moon, and that will be the name I'm going to call this structure now onwards. D4. अच्छा ये भी half moon है देखो. Sorry.
Yes.
I'm going to look out for these structures.
बट उसमें थोड़ा कुछ तो ऐसा,
दाग लगा है.
हाँ.
चांद में दाग होते हैं ना लेकिन.
By the way, our poll is done, and we have 65% people thinking Magnus will win, 21% think that someone else will win, and 6% for MVL. Guys, MVL को इतना कम दिया है, और मुझे लगता है एमवीएल ही जीतेगा।
अच्छा।
6% you have given MVL. I think MVL has a very good chance to win this. थोड़ा ज्यादा ही आप लोगों ने मैग्नस को चांस दे दिया है।
D4 on the board. Mm, let's see if we can find a way to face this move. Bishop F4 check देना चाहिए या take. I would take on D4 now because the knight is pinned. So knight D4 with a tempo is not possible. Maybe you go king to B1, is it? With the threat of knight D4 next. It's possible actually. And E5. I feel like I'm losing the thread of the position, but yeah, it seems like a lot
And
of
we have
things
a
are.
draw. What? Which game is that?
MVL Vincent draw agreed.
Draw? No way. कैमरा फंस
Bishop
गया है क्या?
Bishop D5, Bishop G7.
And they agreed
No,
for a draw.
are you serious?
Well,
Is
that's
the
what the result says.
yeah? Is the camera stuck?
I'm not sure what's happening. Is it a draw? Guys, can you just update us if that's true?
Yeah, I think the camera is stuck, Harshit. MVL clearly not moving at all. Maybe we can see their board through another camera. Maybe Magnus is, or maybe the board 4 camera can show what's happening at the back. Acha.
Man, because this is going to mean that Magnus has a real shot of winning the tournament again. Oh la la.
Yes, it is a draw
It
on
is?
board 1. I mean, it's a draw on Lee Chess as well as on Chess.com. So, unless, I mean, there is no glitch on the
Yes,
website,
it is a
clearly.
draw. Oh wow. This is very surprising. MVL agrees to a draw with Vincent. I am not sure I approve of this decision because Magnus is very likely to win his game and someone will catch up. No, Soumya.
Exactly. And I think MVL had a good chance. For Vincent, though, it is a very pragmatic decision. His position was a bit more shaky than White. So for Vincent, I think taking the draw is a good decision on his behalf.
Yeah. And guys, maybe Soumya, if we can go full screen on Magnus's board now, if we can bring his board and we can go full screen there because I want to see if we can show the standings after round 8. So we will go full screen here on this board and then Soumya, if you can click standings there.
Yes,
Uh,
yes.
yes. And maybe we can quickly try to show that so that people know what is
1 minute.
currently happening.
I'll just bring it on the board otherwise. Um,
Chess.com is easier actually.
okay,
Yes.
okay.
We will keep this and show you the standings.
मेरा यूजर नेम मत दिखाना लेकिन
अरे अरे सौम्या with some secret username.
सबके पास होता है सीक्रेट यूजर नेम
अभी डालता हूं मैं चैट में.
तुम्हारा नहीं है क्या? तुम्हारे रियल अकाउंट से खेलते हो हमेशा?
हाँ.
कुछ भी.
Really. By the way, guys, these are the standings. Vincent and Maxim are on 7.5 points. We cannot see it actually. Can we show up, make it go to the bit right?
No,
Soumya,
I
you can't
can't
do
do
anything. No,
anything.
you can't do anything. Just wait. Yes, and here you can see it, guys. Vincent on 7.5, Maxime on 7.5, Alexei and Jan Christoph are on 7, but they have finished their games.
Hmm.
But if you see Magnus and Aryan, their game is still going on.
Hmm.
So if Magnus wins, he moves to 7.5 and his tiebreaks are better.
Hmm.
Very likely. Well, it can change, so we are never sure. But before this round, his tiebreaks were the best. So then Magnus wins the tournament. Vincent gets second and Maxine gets third. That's the situation. But tiebreaks will change, guys. So it's possible Vincent can still win, but it will be close.
Yes.
It will be very close and it will be very exciting to see who wins this tournament. But for that, before Magnus needs to win, and look at Magnus's clock. Only 39 minutes for him.
So we have the board back, right? Yes.
We have their board, but the camera of Magnus seems to be stuck. So we have the camera of Pranav instead. And Pranav, actually, we will go to his game later. But to first look at Magnus's board here, what was the last two moves, Soumya? Can you
Yeah,
just show
let's
us?
go. Let's go. So h4 was met with h5 by Aryan, e3 chosen by Magnus,
Mhm.
e6, bishop to b2, queen f7 and c4. This is the live position. Knight g3 अभी आ नहीं सकते because bishop h4 मर जाएगा शायद. Oh,
Exactly.
actually, ah, it's
Exactly.
yeah, and that's why white will have problems with bringing his knight to g3. But another plan problem is we can't even go bishop f3 very conveniently for the same reason. Bishop f3, bishop takes, queen takes, and knight h4. Our rook is not on a8, unlike in normal standard chess. The rook is on b8, so queen on f3 doesn't attack anything.
Yes. So somewhere right now it's black to play. So
Mhm,
black needs to come up with a move. And I think something like bishop e7 or bishop f6 are quite logical moves here for black.
mhm,
Um, and then black can bishop e7 may be a bit more natural so that we keep the pressure on the h4 pawn.
mm.
And I think the way white wants to regroup his pieces somewhere is knight h2, knight f3. I think this is how White
Oh,
in general wants to bring his pieces in the game. However, the problem with knight h2 as well is that the h4 pawn falls. So maybe that being said, rook h3 and then knight h2, knight f3 could be an idea. But first bishop e7 के बाद b4 मर रहा है. So Aryan का move है फिलहाल and he wants to consider this move bishop e7 I think. But I like this, yeah. एकदम calmly बैठा है वो. It doesn't feel like, we don't have their heart rate monitors, but at least from his facial expressions, Aryan seems to be very calm. And many people would have just crumbled when they were facing against Magnus, but at least so far, Aryan has managed himself quite well.
yeah, and now that you have been pointing out some ideas here, Harshit, I'm also looking at a move like bishop e4. Apparently not a good one. But I basically want to activate my knight. And
Rook
I'm looking
c1.
rook c1 and c5 was my idea. So that the bishop on b2 will be undefended after takes, knight takes, and rook b2.
I guess the problem would be that once you play c5, it's going to be always difficult to castle on the queen side. Castling on the king side is already shaky because your h5 pawn is going to be falling. So maybe this is one of the reasons why white is doing well here. There is a question in the chat. They are asking ki tie breaks is not the best way to resolve this. Don't you think they should play more games to resolve this? You know, I feel Wonder Kid, that's a great question. But the problem is कि यार already they have played four double rounds continuously. And then the argument would be कि after playing four classical games, is it fair for them to play a blitz game afterwards and to decide everything from that blitz game? Because also we have to consider that the players are going to be super tired. So I'm not sure what the best solution of that is. Maybe it could be that they share the prize money, but the trophy goes to the person with better tie breaks. Maybe that's a better way to resolve it.
I feel sport is not supposed to be, like, oh, let's share the first place, let's share the second. I think there has to be a winner, and whatever it is, you accept it. So I like the idea of having a tie break, but the question is when.
Mhm.
And usually the Grenke festival is held over the Easter holidays in Europe, which is a 4 or 5 day holiday in Germany. And that is the reason they always time it, uh, over the first week of April or the last week of March, depending. And that's why there are double rounds in the event every day. So there are not many easy solutions to this suggestion, even though it's a good one. Sometimes the practical nature of things takes over.
Yeah, exactly.
C4.
And Aryan is taking his time to find the move here. By the way, the bar tells us the evaluation bar, by the way, guys, as you see, Magnus just comes back to the board, tells us the story that Jan Nepomniachtchi actually has a big advantage against Buddy Pranav.
Uh, yes. Do you want to go there? Let's go.
Yes, just to see what's happening. And Buddy Pranav places his bishop on g3. I'm sure he captured something. He
Yes.
captured a knight.
So d4 was responded with c takes, king b1. This is a line we discussed, and bishop g3 was Pranav's choice here.
And don't you want to play, guys in the chat? Would you take on g3 or would you play knight takes d4 intermediate move? I think you need to think about this. Soumya, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. I'll come in a minute. I think
Yeah, sure.
I need.
Take your time. Guys, Soumya will be right back. But my question to you is, will you take the bishop on g3 or will you play an intermediate move knight takes d4? Knight takes d4. Yes, Mia bhai. Who else will play knight takes d4? Queen e4. Yes. Knight takes d4. Paymarsh. Guys, knight takes d4 is not working because queen takes e4 check intermediate move and you are going to be down a piece. So it's not working out. Knight d4 is a mistake. I tricked you. What does better tie break mean? So guys, so basically क्या होता है? We play against 9 players. So the points that our opponents make. So let's say कि I played against Soumya and I played against you guys. Okay. So कितने points सौम्या ने किए plus कितने points you like Anwar did for example plus कितने points this all these get added up and then it will be compared to the points the total points of the opponents of Magnus. So whoever has bet like a higher tiebreak in terms of their opponent's scores will win the tournament. So, at the end, it depends also on the results of the opponents you played against. So it's a bit complicated, but not so complicated actually. Okay. hmm And then Harika also has a chance to qualify for the World Championship. So we will take a look at her game as well. What if that is same too? Okay, then it gets a bit complicated. Aryan will hold, Magnus and ChessBase India will get a new reel. Oh, by the way, look at this. We have the game of Yan, and he does take the bishop on g3. And we will get updates on the board as just in a few moments from now. Maybe we can go full screen um, and update the board in just a few moments as we are trying to get that. But Jan Nepomniachtchi takes on Buddy Pranav for the third and fourth spot. That's what it feels like, that they're playing for the third or fourth place position.
Hello, we can have the board back on the screen
Let's
because
go. Soumya is back, guys. The
before.
person we were waiting for.
So, what were you discussing, Harshit? Bishop takes H takes Queen e4 happened.
No.
Queen
We were discussing that Dhurandhar 2 is better than Dhurandhar 1. No, I'm joking.
I'm sure you watched neither. I'm sure. इसमें तो मैं bet भी नहीं कर मतलब कोई कुछ भी bet कर लूंगी इस पे मैं. Queen f2 d3 knight to d4. The last move on the board.
Yeah, knight d4 played. And now he wants to bring in his rook to e1. And Yan has a big advantage on the board, has a 40-minute time lead. It seems like he's going to win.
Yeah, I think Nepo just knows. Nepo is so good at these positions, right? Like dynamic positions. Of course, he had a big advantage against Leon in the morning and he messed it up a bit. But usually, he gets these moves in a flow once he gets the initiative. Really dangerous with that. So, yeah, Pranav on the back foot. Levon Aronian, by the way, has come back to board 6 after having the best event, maybe. This one.
And
But
he has a fantastic position here. Levon Aronian is on 6 out of 8. And if he wins this game, I mean, Soumya, 7 out of 9 is quite a respectable score in
yeah,
this field.
definitely. But I
You
remember he was on 3.5 out of 5. So after that, he dropped only half a point. And if he wins this one, 7/9 would be amazing, actually.
I think 7/9 guarantees top 5.
Mm.
And top 5 in this tournament is a fantastic result for anyone and everyone, given how uncertain freestyle chess can be.
Harshit, you said white is clearly better here. Can you make it more coherent for us? Because I see that there are opposite color bishops on the board. And the material is equal.
The
So then
material
why is...
to be equal, but somewhere I think the reason is that the e5 pawn is like an anchor which will help white attack. And generally, whoever attacks in opposite colored positions has the upper hand. Here, the pawn on d4 also seems to be falling. And the black king is still on e8 as well. So it feels like white should be doing really well.
So the pawn on d4 is a weakness. The black king stuck on e8. Opposite color bishops make it easier for black to create an attack because it's almost like black will be defending like a piece down if white decides to attack the dark squares. Queen c5 on the board.
Yeah. Of course, black does have some drawing chances. So let's see if Aronian can show us his technique here in opposite colored positions. By the way, Yan and Pranav are blitzing out some of the moves.
Let's go.
And oh no, The
happened.
advantage has increased drastically for Yan as he takes on d3 with his rook. The king on e8 seems to be struggling a lot, and he's about to play a move. Knight e5 is likely going to be his choice.
Knight on f8 is unfortunately dominated by white's pawn on f5. This is the reason why black is so much worse in this position, apart from the king being stuck on e8. Knight e5, trying to get the other knight to d7, and then maybe castle if we get the chance. No, we
Yeah,
won't actually, because white will plonk a knight on e6 and we will be forbidden from castling forever.
I think I heard Vince. Let me just see if he would like to join us. Let me, 1 second.
Mhm.
No, maybe he's in the main broadcast.
Mhm.
But let's see if we can get any of the players here. Oh, let's go. That would be great.
So let's go to Magnus board maybe. Here it is difficult for Pranav to create big chances. For example, rook d2 seems to be a decent move here. Ah, no, rook d2 is a bad move.
Rook d1 back
Why is rook d2 bad and rook d1 okay?
because somehow wanted to protect my rooks with each other.
Hmm. But there seems to be a stronger move here, which gives white a, I mean, white has a decisive advantage over here actually.
Oh, queen e2
So
and then knight f3. No,
queen
queen
e2.
e2
So
and queen
queen e2.
h5.
Oh, and knight d7 can be met with queen to h5. Ah,
And no, he just goes back rook d d1. He doesn't find, I mean, rook d d1 is much more logical. He plays it, and Yan still has a huge advantage. So he's at almost +3. So Yan is completely winning actually.
knight e6 is a big threat in the position. It's tough to suggest moves for black actually, because the king is black's main problem.
And you could see Magnus's reaction after looking at this position. Yeah, he knows Yan is completely winning. And then we can go to Magnus's board because he did make some move here. Bishop e7 was played by Aryan, and then b5 blitzed out by Magnus.
So bishop b2, queen f7 was Aryan's choice in that position.
Yes, bishop e7,
c2 and bishop e7, b5,
and
followed by c5.
he just played c5. That's the best move in the position. Aryan Chopra has found this idea of going c5 and then developing the knight to c7.
Yeah, I think this is the crux of the position, Harshit, that we've been discussing in all the games. Knight was not coming out, and whenever we were trying to get it out, uh, somehow I was not able to make it work in the most optimal manner. Aryan showing us the way.
Yes, and we have Amit Rao in the chat. Hi, Amit. Welcome, guys. Welcome for everyone who's joining in. This is the last round of this tournament. We have Vincent and Maxime who have secured themselves joint first position with 7.5 out of 9. But Magnus and Aryan, one of them can catch them to become the champion.
Oh, he
B
made
takes
a move.
c6,
He made
taken
a
by
move.
Magnus.
It's a really good move apparently. B takes c6.
Yeah. And I'm sure that he will take back with the bishop. Well, that's at least the move that seems very intuitive to me, to not block
But,
your own bishop.
but you're also allowing knight d4 with the tempo. So do you want to do that?
Yeah, that's the problem. Because if dc6,
Apparently a good move, bishop c6. Let's say dc6 as well, because this also seems all right. And yes, both the moves are decent.
but
Bishop
both
c6
moves.
more preferable, but dc6 changes the pawn structure. Now e5 would not be covered by a pawn anymore.
No, he just takes on c6 with the bishop immediately.
Mhm.
And I think this is a good strategy to keep playing fast. Because if Magnus gets below 5 minutes, Aryan can get his chances. Guys, Aryan for sure needs to defend this position, but he needs to be open to the idea of playing for a win. Because win would just completely change his chess career almost. To get joint first in this tournament, where Magnus, Vincent, Nordirbeck, Jan is playing, is extra special.
Absolutely. And simply beating Magnus Carlsen makes news by itself these days because Magnus doesn't lose as many games. So beating Magnus Carlsen would be a jewel in his chess career, chess career for anyone, especially for a youngster like Aryan. Bishop c6, knight d4 is the move that comes to my mind here, Harshit. What do you think of it?
Yeah, I think it's absolutely logical to want to bring in our knight in the center of the board. We have a question: whom do we think is like for both of us, Magnus or Gary? Who's the GOAT? For me, I never like to compare across generations because I feel like if one can never say if Maradona is a greater player or Messi is the greater player, considering the resources both players had. Magnus is the best player of his era, and Gary was the best player of his era. That much is clear.
Really good take there, Harshit.
Yeah.
So, bishop to c6, and white actually is not ready with his move.
Magnus is thinking.
I'm surprised because bc6 was taken within a minute. So he basically didn't want to. That's surprising, right? Because you're changing the pawn structure with
No,
b into
but
c.
I think it was clear that the black pawn on c5 is very strong. It
Mm-hmm,
controls the d4 square. So it
mm-hmm.
was clear we had to capture it.
Okay.
So he makes the obvious move quickly. And then he also gives black a question whether you want to take with the d pawn or the bishop. Aryan was ready to capture with the bishop. And now Magnus re-evaluates this position because he can also start with bishop c2 to stop black from getting bishop e4.
But bishop c2 staring at the pawn on f5. Do you want to
Yeah,
do that?
that's sad. That's true. I don't want to do. Now that you mention this point, I take my words back.
Actually, white really needs to resolve, white as well as black, but more for white. Where do you want to put the king? King
I-
to short castle, long castle, or keep it in the center? Because उसकी तैयारी करनी पड़ेगी हर एक डिसीजन की शॉर्ट कासल करने के लिए आपको h4 पॉन प्रोटेक्ट करना पड़ेगा बट हाउ डू यू डू दैट बाय ब्रिंगिंग अ नाइट टू f3 and there is no easy way to do that. d3 knight d2 knight f3, a long plan might be the answer in
Yeah,
order to prepare short castle.
I like that idea of d3 knight d2. Soumya, in this position, I would like to have the hands of Muthaya Muralidharan, where he's spinning. He's not showing where he will go. Maybe the ball will spin left, maybe the ball will spin right. I want to be like him. I want to keep my options. Let's see what Magnus wants.
Magnus wanting the qualities of someone else would be a real irony. And he goes for D3, Harshit.
Goes for it. Soumya, if you
Preventing
speak
the
loudly, वो सुन लेगा.
Acha, Jamil Jamali has super chatted in the chat. Oh my God. Do you know the reference, Harshit?
नो, हर्षित
So,
सौम्य मेरा बच्चा है तो चल फैंटा पिलाओ. ये क्या है?
it's a character in Durandar.
Oh.
And that's really funny. That's a really funny super chat we have there. Thank you. You did make us laugh.
आओ देखा है तुम्हें मामूली फंडा. But guys, Aryan Chopra is under pressure here against Magnus. Magnus is wanting to regroup his pieces. He wants the knight on f1 to go to g5. And that's his idea. And such a beautiful camera angle here that has been provided to us. Very lucky to have that. Guys, Magnus has won the event last year with 9 out of 9. This year, unable to do that, but if he wins this game, he has a good chance of winning the event.
Absolutely. And Magnus always comes in clutch. उनकी इतनी अच्छी खूबी है जो हमें हमेशा उनसे उम्मीद लगाए में मदद करती है. That's why the 60 or 70% people voted for Magnus to win the tournament. However, honestly, for me, I've been most impressed by Vincent's performance in this event. I loved his games, all of his games, of course, Magnus as well. But for me, the way Vincent handled his game against Magnus and also the morning game that we were discussing, and in case Harshit, he does not manage to win the event, he will be regretting the moment where he decided to take the knight on f7 instead of taking rook into g5 in the morning round.
Yeah, I agree with you, Soumya. I think he will definitely be kicking himself for not finding that. But I think considering how he has played the entire event, it's very little that Vincent can be unhappy about. He almost had a perfect event here.
Exactly. So that also, I think it depends on your attitude. You either regret coming second or you give yourself a pat on the back that you did so well, you've been so consistent, and you've been on an improvement arc throughout, and it's only going to get better and better. So I think uh, if you can take things in your stride and keep your attitude positive, it will generally help you in the long run. We will see what eventually happens in the standings, but Magnus is putting pressure on Aryan in this game.
Yes. And maybe we can just show everyone who has just joined in the standings once again because, this is the last round, Soumya. And everything is about who will get the first prize and a ticket to the Freestyle World Championship in Weissenhaus. This is a qualification event for that. And we have Vincent and MVL on 7.5 points here. And then there is Magnus and Aryan who are playing with 6.5. And Aryan is about to play his move. He goes.
Aryan made a great move, Harshit. We should go back to the board. There is
Okay.
b5 on the board by Aryan Chopra.
Pawn to b5. क्या crazy खेल रहा है यार आर्यन. If knight d4, now b takes c4 and the rook on b8 opens up.
Wow. Imaginative play by Aryan here.
Guys, if Aryan Chopra wins, me and Soumya have decided to do a dance move because to defeat Magnus with the black pieces in the last round takes, it takes something really special.
To even give such an amazing fight is very special. Kudos to Aryan for finding this move. b5, a fabulous move, which was missed by us here for the chat. I want to ask you, knight d4 is led by bc4.
Yes.
Knight a5 को भी आप bc4 मारोगे क्या? Why not?
And I think we are going to try to get Vincent here, guys. If he joins, do let us know if you have any questions in mind for him. If he joins, let's see what happens. But right now, this is the game that we are following. Soumya, pawn to b5, the best move played by Aryan. And look at Magnus. He raises his eyebrows. What a move found by the young Indian boy Aryan. Well, young, he's my age, but he's relatively young.
You're also young only, Harshit. No, knight c4 will happen, okay. But then what do you want to play for knight a5? I will push the knight pawn ahead if knight a5, Soumya, knight out of the game. But knight a push pawn ahead, knight into c6. There is a better move for knight a5. Think
Guys,
about it, guys.
knight a5 khela to how will you defend the bishop on c6? Will you take on c4? Will you go rook c8 or is there anything else?
You have a good move here as black. If white plays knight c4, white has made his move. So let me maybe show it on the board. Knight a5 is a
Yes,
big mistake here because bishop
Anjali,
b4.
Hardik Chawla, Magic Allen falls for a trick. And yes, we do have Vincent joining us, Soumya. Vincent, congrats.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot for joining us. We were actually very impressed. We also have Soumya here with us, and we were following your tournament very closely. What are your first impressions from this event?
Yeah, it's been a great
Hello
event.
there, Vincent.
I, atmosphere is amazing, and playing on the stage is still also kind of nostalgic for me, of course. But it's a really special place, and playing well here also means a lot to me.
I think like one of the breakthroughs that you brought was during this event when you were playing the Open, and then you won that event. And now after that, you were on 6 out of 6. Were you thinking at some point, did that thought cross your mind that maybe I can do 9 out of 9?
Not really. I mean, the first 6 games, they were tough, but I didn't yet face that many elite players. Basically, only 27 plus was Hans. So, of course, I knew that if I was going to probably like Nepomniachtchi, Magnus, and so on, they are waiting. So it's never easy. But I mean, my main focus was to continue playing well because the first 3 rounds I played great openings, but then were very shaky later on. So, I tried to kind of switch it off, which worked quite well. And then, I tried to just keep playing well. But today morning I missed, of course, a great chance. So winning that game would have took quite a lot of pressure off, but I didn't. So it was kind of tough to recover in that break. But I feel like I kind of managed. It's one of those things that you cannot really learn how to deal with it. You just have to get used to it and find your way of dealing with it. And yeah, I think it was a short but very intense and high level game.
Actually, in the morning game that you played, me and Soumya both thought that this was one of the best games that you have played, especially because also you were so accurate to play King F2, King G3, and in the right time you were able to push E5, E6. Of course, you missed the win, but overall, I think the game quality was exceptionally high, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's maybe also the reason why it hurt so much that I didn't ponder that, right? Because it's not like I played a bad game, I just kind of threw it away in that one moment. So that's kind of annoying, but yeah, what can you do?
And then today in the last round, you were playing against MVL. What was your like? You knew you will play him because MVL won, so it was clear you will get paired. Did you have like some match strategy um,
Not
coming into the
really.
game?
I mean, I'm black against a great player, and also the starting position was very dangerous.
Yeah.
So I first had to fully focus on kind of being okay. Of course, if I get presented with a chance, I might try to take it, but clearly first focus was being solid and trying to neutralize the initiative that was there right from the start, which I think I managed quite well. And of course, it also helped me that Sarana made a quick draw because his tiebreaks were actually much better than MVL's. And of course, it can still happen. It's Buchholz, so if too many of my opponents lose, things can still go wrong, but I think I have a decent chance.
And actually, Soumya, if we can go to the final position of this game, was it MVL who played Bishop takes G7 and offered a draw?
Yes.
And I guess yeah, only white. Probably you felt that only white can play for a win, or?
Yeah, I mean, the position is symmetrical. I still have the issue to solve with my donate, and I think in the best case, I'm solving that issue, and it will be fully symmetrical. But I don't really see the upside potential for me here.
So yeah, you agreed to a draw, and then you have 7.5 out of 9. You guarantee yourself a first, joint shared position. And even if Magnus wins, I think the spot to the Freestyle World Championship will be confirmed, right? Because
Okay, it's between me and MVL, so he can also get it. But my tiebreaks were better before the round. But again, it's Buchholz, so he also said that he had this experience in Qatar, where he was, I don't know, 3 Buchholz up compared to Notterbeck, and then after that he was 2 or 3 behind. So things can happen, but yeah, I mean, chances are quite good, I guess.
And if you have a few minutes, do you want to take a look at the game of Magnus?
Harshit, I wanted to also ask a couple of questions to Vincent. That first of all, Vincent, what did you think of the starting position today? Because in some of the games, we felt that Black got a bad position from the opening itself because of the knight on A8 being stuck after the pawn push to F4 and the Black's response of B6. So, what were your thoughts when you got this position in the beginning?
Yeah, it's very unpleasant. I mean, clearly one of the more dangerous positions for Black. Already in the first move, you have big issues. Like knight b6 is a bad move because knight is badly placed on b6 and the a7 remains weak, and b6 kind of kills your knight. So you have to choose between 2 bad options. Yeah, so of course for engines nothing is ever so bad, but also practically it's much easier to play for white. That's why also, my feeling was that b6 should be the right move, so I played it quite quickly. But then, of course, once things start to get, kind of concrete, you have to calculate a lot, and I also spent a lot of time. And yeah, I was, of course, very unhappy with the starting position because it's very easy to get into trouble here. But I think I managed to kind of neutralize the initiative.
And also, I wanted to ask you, yeah, I know it took you a lot of time to recover from the morning game, but I just wanted to quickly go through it once, if you don't mind, because I was very keen to know what is it that you missed in your calculation, because it was not that clear to us. You played an excellent game, and this whole idea with the king f2, king g3 maneuver was in fact stunning. So what is it that you perhaps missed?
Well, that's the thing. I basically didn't miss anything because I didn't calculate rook g5. If I calculate rook g5, I will realize within 10 seconds that it's mate. That's what's also kind of annoying me, right? Because I know that if I even start thinking about the move, I will immediately realize that I'm winning. It's just, for me, somehow ef7 was automatic. And that's, of course, something that shouldn't happen, but it did. So, yeah. I mean, it's not a calculation mistake because I didn't even calculate it. That was the whole mistake. Here, of course, king g7, f6, it's not... I mean, yes, it's one move you have to see, but I think on our level, usually that shouldn't be an issue.
So it was a issue of candidate moves rather than, yes, we understand
it was a
that.
combination because I was low on time. I wanted to make one move quickly, and I also felt I had chances here because I missed it after the h6. This queen c3 move is kind of perpetual on spot.
Okay, thank you. So maybe we can go to Magnus's game now of the day, and we can...
It looked like he has a good position, but actually Aryan is fighting
No,
very
the
well.
last moves, b5, knight7, knight6 were very good, and already in the other commentary already mentioned that now that was very good streak of moves. Also, he's still up a bit on the clock, and now, he got some counterplay. He was in a difficult position, but now will be interesting to see how Magnus reacts, and he's a big fighter, so he has some chances.
And actually, Vincent, in the starting position, even Magnus said that you are someone, that he loves to see what you are doing in the opening because he really respects you in this format. What is it about this format, and what is it about like your style of thinking that makes you come up with these creative ideas?
No idea. It's a simple answer. I have absolutely no idea. It's unclear to me. I guess it's I mean, basically, it's about understanding if you have a similar position to a starting position, what changes and how does that affect the normal openings. So you have to kind of compare. And if you have something random like today, you have to, of course, have kind of a vision of where pieces belong, which kind of structures are suddenly good or bad. And also sometimes center kind of shifts depending on where the pieces are. So, but I don't understand how my thinking process is different to the one of others. But of course, it seems to be, I guess it's the same as in normal chess, but I mean, I don't really know. But I also have a feeling that usually I have a quite good idea of what's going on in the open.
So when you get the starting position, do you first spend time to understand how similar it is to normal chess, or do you just treat it like its own position in itself? Like,
Usually always treat it as very different, but it changes if the position is very similar to the starting position.
Like the kings being interchanged with
Yeah,
the
for
queen
example.
in one of the...
Also, once we have like only knight and rook changed or something,
Yes.
of course you can compare, but usually you have to treat it as a completely new position.
Vincent, we are so thankful for you to join us. I have one two more questions. What's next for you in your calendar? Where will people see you playing next?
I'll play the ChessCom Open as part of EWC qualification, and I mean the next big classical event for me will likely be the Grand Chess Tour in Bucharest.
The Grand Chess Tour.
So, and then directly from there, Norway Chess. So those are, of course,
Oh,
very big events coming up, and
Amazing.
I'll spend my time now preparing for those, getting ready, related to the middle, because this will take a lot of energy as well, of course.
And are you going to take the next week to just relax and follow the candidates?
Maybe, but I guess training never stops.
Maybe. Vincent,
But
thanks a lot. Yes, Soumya.
I had one final question. You were talking about your freestyle understanding. Do you usually spend a lot of time on freestyle chess, Vincent, in your training?
I never did.
Oh, never did. Oh,
No.
really?
I analyzed, I checked 4 or 5 games from the St. Louis Chess 9 LX games before the first edition of Weissenhaus in 2023. 4?
24.
And that has been my whole freestyle preparation I've done in the past years. So yeah, that's it.
Wow. It's amazing to know that your usual training helps you play so well in these tournaments as well. Thank you, Vincent, for joining us. It's such a pleasure.
Yes, and also congrats. Well done.
Thank you.
Thanks. Guys, so nice, Soumya, to have had Vincent join us. Wow.
Absolutely. And he's such a sweet gentleman of the game. I'm sure the chat also loved having him speak, having him here and share his thoughts. He was so open and honest as well. And great to have these amazing players on our stream, Harshit. Thanks to you and Abudaya for being there and getting them
Yeah.
to meet
The
us.
only thing is that I never know how much time they have. So sometimes like I also want to like just check how comfortable they're feeling. But I think Vincent is very sweet. Yeah, he really is someone who takes his time and answers really well. And he had a fantastic event. He seemed to be in very good spirits. But Soumya, Aryan Chopra के game देखते हैं अभी because he is back. He is equalized the position and he has a time advantage. If Aryan wins, नाचना तो पड़ेगा Soumya.
डेफिनेटली स्ट्रीम पे ही नाचेंगे हम. अरे पार्टी तो बनती है. Why not? Knight A6 on the board by Aryan. Let's have a quick look at what we missed in the last few minutes. B5, a stunning move by Aryan was played over here. यहाँ पे white ने C5 respond किया in 2 minutes. He's responded really fast, but it seems to be not the best move because as you can see the eval bar actually went down, so we are not sure what should have been played instead of b5. Maybe knight d4, Harshit, would have been good enough because the bishop on b2 is not only defended by the rook on b1 but also the queen on f2 now that the c4 pawn is. So c5 was played by white instead. Knight to c7, knight ff, d2. Oh, our plan. So Magnus का ये बहुत अच्छा है ना. He has so much clarity what he wants to go for. He sticks to it. Knight a6, and it's white's turn.
Well, if if white plays d4, I suspect that would just mean that the bishop on b2 is completely blocked, and then black can even consider going knight to b4. So d4 will not only block white's bishop, it will make the bishop on c6 a stronger piece.
Yes, wonderful point there. So black is inducing d4 by white here, a move white does not want to make voluntarily. The other option would be to play rook to c1, but I believe this is a mistake. I do not think rook c1 is the move. Maybe chat this time can spot the move that black can play in response to c1. It's not a big tactic, but it's a good move. It does have a threat. What is the move you will make, chat? Are they going to share prizes or tiebreakers are coming? I don't know if they are going to share the prize. Let me check the rules.
Yes, exactly. Knight to b4. Many people have found it.
अरे टू स्ट्रॉन्ग चैट क्या बात है उपेंद्र नाचू मणिकम मैजिकल लेजेंड अंकुर श्रीवास्तव CR7 गोड आद्या अरेना बिनु वेस्ली all of them want to go knight b4. It's also attacking the knight on the pawn on a2 in some positions. So knight a6 on the board. I guess I would definitely look at e4, but the problem is my f4 pawn. It does open the queen. Takes, knight takes. And I'm wondering if this is a decent pawn sacrifice or not. The engine helps me understand that it isn't. क्या लगता है आपको हर्षित? Knight f4 and maybe my position in big trouble.
Let's see here. If knight takes f4, this looks really good for black, no?
I think so. Because
this
knight
looks
e3
really
is a
good.
big threat and unfortunately I cannot play for initiative here. Black is ready to castle as well. So knight e6 go. How do I defend c5?
No, it's not so easy to make a decision, and that's why it feels as if Magnus missed this resource of black going knight to a6, and it is indeed a slightly hidden move because you don't want to go with your knight in the rim. But Aryan was opportunistic, and he goes for this move knight a6. In the meanwhile, the evaluation bar does say that Hans is much better and Nepo is completely winning. We will take a look at those games, but right now, it's all about Magnus playing against Aryan because the winner will have 7.5 points.
Wow. Also, I just wanted to remind the chat that in case Magnus Carlsen wins the event, he's obviously qualified for the Freestyle World Championship, being the current world champion in that format. So the next best placed player who's not yet qualified for that event will get that spot. That's why Vincent was speaking about him or MVN being eligible for that spot in case Magnus wins. And that's why maybe the draw offer was a very practical decisions by MVN over there.
Yes. Very
A lot
practical
at
choice.
stake, actually, a lot at stake for both of them. It was not only about the championship, but the qualification and the chance to become world champion in this format. So knight to a6.
And Magnus is now down to about 20 minutes. Aryan.
Harshit Bansal has been asking in the chat if you are a GM, Harshit. I think he just wants to hear from his namesake that yes, I have become a grandmaster and so Even you can tell everyone that, Harshit is the GM and they might mistake him for you. It's possible.
Uh, yes, I am a GM. I became one in 2021. But right now, we are focusing on the game between the two GMs. One of them who has been a world champion many, many times, Magnus. The another one, Aryan, who dreams of becoming one. And you are surprised by something. What's happening?
Yeah, a lot of positions actually. Levon Aronian's game is turning out to be a draw. So maybe we can have a
Hmm.
quick look at it. It's an opposite color bishop endgame. All the pieces got traded, and this is very likely to end in a draw soon.
Yes, this is going to end in a draw. Maybe we can just quickly check Nepo's game against Buddy and to
Nepo,
see if yeah.
Nepo is
Oh
crushing
my
it.
God.
Nepo
Oof.
is crushing it.
Rook d5. What a move. If you take the rook, knight c7 check, and you win the queen on d5.
Bravo.
So it's over. Yan is going to win his game against Pranav, and this means he will move on to 7 out of 8.
And Harika also seems to be suffering a bit in this endgame. Even though
Mhm.
the material is equal, the problem is white's black pawn structure is much worse than white. And also the knight is still on a8, Harshit.
Yeah. Can we actually just quickly get her camera because she is playing on the stage actually. And I do think this was a nice gesture by the organizers. Oh, back Geralta. We just have a new contributions
Mm.
on Help Chess. Thanks a lot for that. It does support all of the Indian talent. And Harika's camera here. She has had a fantastic event. She drew with Levon Aronian, is now playing on stage against Jobawa Badur, famous for his Jobawa London. And Harika can defend this, and it might mean a lot for her to defend this because it will keep her chances of the world championship spot alive.
Yes. A draw will be great actually for Harika because she will finish at least tied for first. And if a tie break, a lot of women players have a chance to finish the tournament on 6 points, Harshit, because they are playing on 5 points. And it is always difficult to predict open tournaments, never know how the last round is going to go. But at least a draw will ensure at least a tie for first place, and maybe her tie break will be sufficient for her to qualify.
Yes. So Harika is defending. Let's go back to Magnus's camera. He has not made a move yet. And Soumya, I'll just need to write one message. I'm here. I'm just going to mute myself and I'll be right back.
All right, then. If you want to take a break, you can. Magnus versus Aryan over here. Uh, Magnus has not yet made a move. He's down to 16 minutes on his clock. Bishop d4 just played by Magnus. After a 16-minute thought, oh my God. So he realizes, Magnus realizes that Aryan is playing a very strong game. He realizes that he needs to take his time, not be hasty. Bishop d4, uh, uh, the only move that we did not check actually, but makes a lot of sense. You don't want to go d4 because you block your bishop. You don't want to play rook c1. It allows knight b4 and then knight d3, and you have to worry about knight a2 as well, along with knight d3. So bishop to d4, you, you keep your bishop's path alive and open, and knight b4 can be met with queen. Oh, I don't want to move my... Oh, actually, it's not easy. But knight c1. Knight c1 might be a move here. Knight c1 because we moved our bishop away from d4. So with knight c1, we defend the pawn on d3 as well as a2 and we attack the knight on b4. My question is, if knight goes back to a6, is Magnus going to repeat with knight to b3? Because that is not what Magnus wants. Magnus wants to win the event. He wants to win every event he plays. So knight to b3 silent draw offer नहीं किया जाएगा. मुझे लगता है white will go for the other knight to b3. Apparently a bad move. So, but I wanted to still explain my thought process here. Knight coming to b3, at least it's not a repetition. My issue with this move was we went from knight f1 to knight d2 in order to come to f3 and then g5. And whatever happened to that plan, because knight on c1 is too far away from the f3 square. So I'm wondering what Magnus has in mind for knight b4 over here. Knight b4 has not yet been played. Aryan in deep thought. If Aryan wins, will he be champion? Wow. He will tie for the first place. Whether he will win the tournament or not depends on his eventual tiebreak. At the moment, his tiebreak is much worse than Vincent's. So it's unlikely that he will become the champion, but he will definitely tie for first place and finish in top 3. I'm looking at options for knight b4 now. Knight b4. I think this is a really good move. Queen e2 is a mistake. Queen e2, we support the pawn on d3. But why is queen e2 a mistake, guys? What is it that the queen has been deflected from? Queen was doing a job on f2. And it's now alienated that job. What is it?
Yes, I'm back, Soumya. And are there any moves?
There are no moves, but I think Aryan has managed to put Magnus in a pickle here because bishop d4 by Magnus. And Harshit, my question is, what does Magnus have in mind against knight b4? I've asked the chat if queen e2 is a move, they would go for. No, chat says no because queen e2 and bishop takes h4. That's right. The queen was
Exactly.
defending the pawn on h4.
Well done, guys. Well done. That's absolutely right. And we have a lot of new people joining in. Guys, Magnus Carlsen is in a must-win situation to have any chances to win the tournament. And he is playing against Aryan Chopra, who I think and they're playing for the first time. I think Aryan Chopra has this opportunity of playing Magnus for the first time, and look at what he is doing with that opportunity. He has put Magnus under pressure. Now he can play knight b4 as you've suggested, Soumya. White might be forced to drop back with his knight to c1 to defend the pawn, and this is where he can push a5 and suddenly
a5. Oh, even try to win as black. You know, Harshit, in my mind, I simply wanted to go back knight a6 and offer a draw.
I think Aryan might get ambitious here, Soumya, because the difference between drawing and winning is too big. If you get a chance to win this game, that will be huge for Aryan. So knight b4 needs to be played by him, and look at his focus. He he closes his eyes there. It's not because he is anxious or nervous, it's because he's making sure he's calculating all the right moves. This is something very typical for chess players.
a3. a3 is not a problem for black because now we go back to a6. We attack the pawn on c5 and whichever knight comes to b3 will be kicked away with a4. That's Harshit's point here. Knight on b3.
He goes for it. Bravo. Bravo. Knight c1 back. Oh my goodness. Knight a6. Can white go with his d knight to b3?
But that would be a big issue for white because white wanted to go to f3 with his knight and then to g5, and the c1 knight is too far away from the f3 square. So we achieved a lot by inducing this knight to b3 instead.
Oh man. Aryan can repeat. Knight a6 back खेल के. Even a draw would be insane result for Aryan.
Exactly.
Wow. Guys, this is what we need to learn from players like Aryan Chopra. You know, you give them an opportunity and they maximize that.
Aryan has always been a strong player. He's been 2600 for a while now. He also became a grandmaster really fast by playing very few tournaments, focusing on his studies as well as his chess at the same time. And this could be his big break in his chess career. Aryan Chopra, will he actually repeat knight a6 or choose to put pressure on Magnus with a5? Both the moves are amazing for black here. At least ensure equality.
मजा आ रहा है सौम्या यहाँ पे. It's so much fun. Aryan Chopra is slowly but slowly, just squeezing Magnus's pieces behind. अभी b4 का knight मर रहा है, तो we can drop back. It would be epic if Aryan repeats twice and third time नहीं करना है draw.
अरे
Crazy हो जाएगा.
अरे क्या रील्स बनेंगे उस मोमेंट के, सोचो
Oh
हो
my
जाए
God.
तो छोड़ेंगे ही नहीं उस मोमेंट को.
Hello, hello, hello. Guys, will we see another table bang today? Who knows?
Imagine Aryan does it. Repeat the third time and Magnus is like,
Oh man. Aryan भाई, क्या हो गया है तुम्हें आज?
But what would you do, Harshit, if you were in Aryan's shoes? If
एक
you
बार
would
तो repeat करूंगा. Because if knight a6, white plays knight db3, then it's just unless the question is knight a6 के बाद, does white have something like knight f3?
knight f3,
No, right?
sacrificing the pawn on c5. Yes,
No,
it
it's
is a move.
possible. तो
It
फिर
is.
नहीं खेलूंगा मैं knight a6, क्योंकि मैग्नस नहीं ड्रॉ करने वाला है. अगर knight f3 पॉसिबल है तो मैं नहीं खेलूंगा, मैं a5 खेलूंगा फिर.
अरे पर pawn मिल रहा है ना. Let's at
नहीं नहीं,
least
वो
calculate
मैग्नस के
it.
साथ नहीं करना है सब कुछ.
कैलकुलेट भी नहीं करना है. कैलकुलेट तो कर लेते हैं.
नाइट g5 आएगा, वो मैग्नस कुछ तो ट्रिक करेगा सौम्य हमें.
क्वीन e7, क्वीन e7 आगे.
वो नाइट b3 लाएगा, समथिंग ही विल डू. I'm sure. And that's why just a5. Aryan, let's be smart. Let's play a5.
I think this is also a decent position for black, but of course, all three results still possible even after we pick up the pawn. So Aryan has a decent choice here between knight a6 and d5. Harshit wants to go a5. To be honest, मैं अगर आर्यन की जगह होती तो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल मैं गॉड को थैंक यू बोलती, एंड सेकंड ऑफ ऑल मैं वो यहाँ पे knight a6 खेलती, because I would be really proud of myself to draw with Magnus, but maybe
Oh yeah.
Harshit
Even
wants more.
guys, even to be on this final table against Magnus, to be on the, one of the top boards in the final round in itself is a success for Aryan. And many people would have not been able to, digest this feeling that I'm going to get to play against Magnus, and they would just like collapse. But Aryan Chopra here is actually able to keep himself under control and is able to continue to find the best moves. He has not made his move yet. He's taking his time. I like this. Time advantage है तो उसका इस्तेमाल करते हैं.
Also, there was a very good question in chat, and maybe Magnus is considering this as well. I don't know if it's a good move. The question was knight c1, knight a6, knight b3 और knight b4 को bishop e2 गए तो चलेगा क्या?
Hi
Giving
Aryan, how are you? Please join us. We are actually following your game, Aryan, and we were so impressed. We still don't know what happened actually. So I guess you drew.
Yeah.
Wow,
wow,
Aryan, Well done.
What
And
a happy spoiler we got here. Thank you, Aryan, for telling us about your result and what happened here. Maybe you can take us through the game because the game is delayed by 15 minutes. तो हमारे पास अब तक नाइट सी वन तक ही ट्रांसमिशन आई है 15
Yeah,
नाइट सी वन.
we repeated after यहीं पे 96 नाइट CB3 repetition भी
knight cb3.
क्योंकि नाइट DB3 के बाद तुम क्वीन F8 etc. काफी कॉम्प्लिकेटेड है.
Uh-huh.
Queen F.
Aryan, how are you feeling actually after drawing with Magnus?
Good. I was thinking like instead of knight before, whether I should have played queen F8 and or instead of knight A6, I can try maybe A5. But the position looked like fine for him. But maybe I can play on and it's very unclear.
But you were considering, yeah, to play on against Magnus?
Yeah, I was considering because if I won, I could like qualify. So yeah, it was tough. I don't like. I didn't think I was better. If I thought I was better, I would play on. But yeah, I thought it was fine for him.
So
But
what were your thoughts? Maybe you can tell us some variations that you went through after Queen F8. Like why did you reject Queen F8 or A5, Aryan?
Yeah, so like knight C1, A5, I was thinking knight F3, and okay, I guess I should take bishop F3, bishop F3, and maybe here queen F8. This is something like this I was calculating, but like it can go both ways, I think.
Maybe A3 you
Yeah,
don't
A3,
like.
knight C6, bishop C6. Oh, okay, bishop C6 should be fine for me, but it's still like complicated because like my pieces are not very well coordinated either, so
Mm-hmm.
it was pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Take knight B3, maybe A4, knight A5, king B7, so that should be good.
Maybe take and knight A5 is an
Yeah,
option.
I actually saw this variation, king D7, and
Oh, wow. You're doing okay here. Uh-huh.
yeah,
But
hard
it could
to,
go either way, right? This
yeah,
one.
very hard to evaluate it.
But Aryan, how was your feeling in the starting few moves? Because it felt like Magnus is putting a lot of pressure, but then you were able to come up with some really nice ideas. Actually, we were impressed by this move B5 a lot. Actually, Soumya, if we can go to the
Yeah.
move B5.
Yes, absolutely. D3 यहाँ पर हम बहुत सारे moves consider कर रहे थे black से and we couldn't come up with good ideas and we thought this idea of knight D2, knight F3 is really strong. But you found B5, Aryan.
Yeah, I have to create counter play. Otherwise, like positionally, I'm not doing that well. Like if he consolidates, he should be better. So also with C5, it's the like same thing. Like after C5, if he does his plan, at least like I get out my knight and it should be fine more or less. But yeah, here I have to go for B5. I was thinking maybe knight D2 after B5 immediately. That was an interesting possibility.
Knight D2.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I was expecting this actually.
So that we'll take with the knight as
Yeah,
well.
I was thinking whether I can go knight B6 here, but it's like very concrete, I think. So this is I mean I thought like C5 could happen, of course, but I wasn't really worried about it because I saw this knight C7, knight A6.
Mm-hmm.
I think he missed that this knight A6 move was so strong.
Mm-hmm.
Because if he just consolidates, then he's better. So after knight a6, like I simply attack the pawn, and then whatever he does, like his coordination will be upset. So yeah, I think I thought I was fine here. Maybe I could have even played for advantage. This is what I was thinking. So
But Aryan, like you're casually saying like he missed this. Like, how are you able to have so much confidence that you can outcalculate? Like, have you played him before or?
no, I haven't played him before, but it's just like I love to have a mess on the board. So.
So you
Like,
got your position.
yeah, I mean, in a mess, anything can happen. So that is what I like.
So you
Yes.
gave yourself equal chances against Magnus going into the final round.
Uh, like, I was a bit concerned when it was blocked, but once I played B5, I was like, it can go either way. Like,
Amazing. That's amazing. And Aryan, is it your first time at the Grenke Freestyle Open, or did you play last year as well? And have you
I,
played any other freestyle events?
no, I'm very inexperienced in freestyle, but I played Grenke last year, and I haven't played online either. I just saw some freestyle games, and yeah, it's like a little bit tricky because like in the morning round against Ferozi, like I thought the position was very unpleasant for
Let me
them.
bring, let me bring it. Just 1 minute.
Yeah, sometimes like it's just okay for black, and sometimes like I think in the morning it was 0.6 for white. So
Yeah,
yeah,
worst
or
position.
after C4 I was thinking for 10 or 15 minutes, and I thought it was very unpleasant. And I
Hmm.
went for c5, and here I was expecting either bishop e4 or f4. He
Hmm.
went for bishop e4, queen c7. This was also the Magnus game. He also played like queen c7. And then
Hmm.
after g4, I think Magnus played knight b6. I
Hmm.
played knight g6. I haven't checked which one is better. And knight g3, e6, knight b3, knight f4, and already I thought like he should play e3. I was very happy when he went d4, and I got f5, and I got my mess again. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I was like, okay, again, it can go any in any
But
direction.
this I guess maybe F. This was a brilliant idea, yeah, because you have this knight g2 and queen f4
Yeah,
if he takes on
he
f5.
cannot take twice.
Mm-hmm.
Let's show this. And if he takes, you go
Yeah,
knight g2.
g2, queen f4, and
Yeah, yeah, this is really bad for white. Yeah,
mhm.
this is very good pawn break. So two amazing pawn breaks you got today, f5 and b5.
Yeah.
And how was this overall feeling of you playing in this tournament? Do you think you will like to play more of freestyle events?
Yeah, I like to play freestyle because I don't have to prepare. So it's a very fun event. Like I was not doing that well in the tournament after 5 rounds. I had 3.5 points, and I made some draws against weaker players. But I won three in a row before playing Magnus.
Wow. And here I think we are finally live. And so we have two people watching, but I think this is where you guys agreed to a draw, yeah?
And this one. Okay, let's bring the board. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we repeated.
Oh, great comment by our producer G. Aryan is like Hikaru finishing his game and coming for his own game's commentary.
Aryan, we have actually not seen you play so much. I mean, I saw you in the St. Louis Masters, but
Yes.
generally you actually decided to, and your handshake and a draw. We haven't seen you play so much. You moved to the St. Louis University. How is that like experience of studying there in the US? And what are your next plans?
So, yeah, I've been playing less since I started university, like only a few events in a year. But I prepare for every event, and I like to be in the best shape possible. So I don't play much, but what I play, I usually play with good preparation. And I like it there, like the university is good, and I'm also wearing
Yes, the St. Louis
yeah,
University t-shirt, guys,
yeah.
if you can see. And Magnus was also speaking, yeah? You guys were analyzing a
Yeah,
little bit.
briefly, yes. He told me that like this he underestimated this 96 move, and he was calculating some really interesting lines like in the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
If we can go on the first move
Yes.
after
Yes.
f4 b6
Mm-hmm.
e4
Mm-hmm.
f5 ef5 queen a2
Oh.
queen d4
Oh.
rook g8
What?
I actually saw this idea, and then he continued with knight b3, queen takes b1, queen a4, and somehow trying to trap the queen. But
God.
You also saw this. ये क्या? How?
no, I saw that this queen d4 and this idea is there, but I did not see that this knight b3 and this queen trap idea would be possible. Yeah,
Wow.
but it's not working. Yes. But anyway, after f4, I didn't have that much choice, so I had to play b6 and then see what
Ah, yes. And he's just showing that line now, I think.
Yeah,
93.
probably.
And he's
What?
also very amused. Look at the smile on Magnus's face when he shows that line. And any other lines you discussed, or that was it?
Um, no, just like briefly, like this position, like what he thought about it, and this queen f8, like it was quite brief. So yeah, this line was very interesting.
A very fun line. Let me check. Maybe we can check with our friend Mr. Stockfish what he thinks of it. But it's a really fun line.
I think
E4, f5, e takes, queen a2, queen d4, rook g8. Wow. So queen b1 doesn't work, yes? Because
No, I
queen
think
g7,
and
queen,
bishop h5 is a mate, yeah,
yeah.
sometimes.
but it's
It's
a little
pinned.
bit pinned.
No, this looks very dangerous.
It seems this is winning for white because
The knight b3
even
and then he just move the knight and castle.
and castle, yes, and then
It's
eventually bishop
baby.
h5.
Yeah. But all my pieces are undeveloped.
Yeah. So very interesting. Knight, queen d4, but I guess
G8. So G8 has to be played. Knight
Yeah,
b3
yeah,
takes.
yeah, yeah.
Knight, queen a4. Wow. And here also your move b5 is a good one, apparently.
if queen a7
Rook
Rook
b6
b6.
and bishop b7,
and
yeah,
yeah, rook a6 is combination.
yeah,
Yeah.
this is good for you. And Aryan, what are you studying in the US right now?
I'm studying business.
Business. So you kind of want to still like play chess professionally, or do you think you want to kind of uh, study and keep the options?
We'll see.
I mean, this tournament you played so well. I think this tournament should definitely give you some confidence, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm usually confident anyway.
That's amazing to see, actually. Like so much to learn for us here. And Aryan, is this the first time you played against Magnus over the board or
Yeah,
online?
yeah. I don't play that much online, so yes, I have never played it.
It's incredible. And what did you tell yourself before the game, if I may ask?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Just play a good game. Oh, it's wonderful. And did you prepare for this tournament? Because you mentioned you usually prepare a lot for events. Then how about this one?
I mean, I didn't. I mean, I just saw that, yeah, I practiced and stuff. You can't really prepare for 960. So just that I was seeing the board well. That was my preparation, of course. It's not possible to prepare more.
But also in normal chess, I know that you have very good opening. Here, the opening, the part just completely has been taken away.
Yeah.
So, do you think then, because I've asked top players, but I'm interested to know your opinion. Do you think it's like we should look at a lot of puzzle, like normal chess, simple puzzles? Like, what should be the approach? Or you think you just need to be well rested?
That is important, of course, but I think most of the skills just carry over. So, of course, your theory might not carry over, but even in some games, like it was like I played, for example, a Dutch structure. Although I don't play Dutch, but I have ideas there. But yeah, it was like pretty similar to a Dutch, and it was a good version for me. So like some knowledge can transfer,
Transfer.
some opening knowledge can also transfer. But in general, yeah, calculation training and in general experience of playing like end games or complicated position, it carries over. So, yeah.
And how does one take the decision to play the Freestyle Open instead of the Grenke Classical Open? What was in your mind?
It, it is so much fun, just pure chess. I like to just play chess, and this is very nice. And also, like, there are so many other events, but freestyle events are pretty limited. So, yeah, it just makes sense to me.
It's amazing, Aryan. Lots of love for you in the chat. By the way, let me read out a few nice comments. Kuki Reza Kalkaru, by the way, what do you think of this username? Says he now becomes my new fan favorite player, Aryan Chopra. And yeah, absolutely. And continue playing chess, says eccentric mystic.
Of course.
And TS Vikas says, kudos to Aryan, one more star on the rise. And there's a lot of positive messages for you, Aryan, in the chat. So I hope you
Appreciate it.
feel good about it.
Yes, Aryan, actually, thanks a lot for joining us and congrats on this great performance. And we will be following where you will play next. Do you know where you will play next?
Nothing planned for now.
Nothing planned for now. But Aryan, thanks a lot. We'll let you take some rest, but congrats again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Give my regards to your mom, by the way.
Yeah.
Please. Bye. Take care.
You can have some chocolate. Oh, maybe.
Aryan's. Bye.
Guys, Aryan played such a nice game, such a creative game against Magnus. मजा आ गया.
Amazing यार. And I really feel कि हमारे Indian players बहुत ही underrated है. Like 2600, 2637 Aryan की rating हो ही नहीं सकती. I really hope more of our stars get chances. हमारे यहाँ पे ऐसे tournaments ज़्यादा हो जैसे Grenke Freestyle Open है. I hope India में भी ऐसे tournaments हो with such amazing prize funds, such strong players, and open tournament हो ताकि invitational में क्या हो जाता है 4-5 लोगों को ही अपॉर्चुनिटी मिल रही है बट देयर आर सो मेनी गुड प्लेयर्स इन इंडिया like Aryan who sometimes get overlooked because there are only 4 or 5 spots in these elite events. So I really hope for more strong open events in India like the Grenke Freestyle Open.
Yes, I think we were really, lucky today, Soumya, because we got Vincent to join us, and then we had this absolute, master class game by Aryan, and then we also had him join us. I of course know Aryan; he's the same age group as me, but I'm very happy to see him do well here. And we have one, two more interesting games remaining, Soumya. So maybe we can look to see what's happening in that because Nepo Pranav game is not over yet.
What? Pranav still fighting? Arey wah! But it is a bit difficult. But I'm really impressed that he's found a way to continue the game. Let's see what's happening. Material is in fact pawn up for black, but the king remains stuck on e8. Harshit, can you explain this position to our chat as to why it's a big advantage for white here?
The king on e8 is completely, has nowhere to go. The white rook on d5 is going to come to d7 next, I think. And I think, oh no, actually, 1 second. The only move we can get his camera because the only move for white now is queen d7 check somehow.
Why doesn't rook d7 do a good job? It's a great move. You are threatening rook into e7. Rook d8 will be met with rook takes e7 or queen takes e7, whichever way you want to do it, would be checkmate. So rook d7 का defense क्या है?
Rook f7, I think, is the key move here.
Bishop f6 was my question. Next question. Why doesn't this move work?
Yeah, this is not so easy to understand. It looks maybe knight d8. No, then rook e7.
What about king f8?
Oh, knight e5 maybe. Wow.
Oh,
no, knight e5, rook e7. One. No, I can't do that.
And king f8 also doesn't seem to work. Maybe because of Maybe because of rook e7. Oh no.
No, king f8, I think we can just take bishop e7.
Bishop e7, knight takes.
No,
My
bishop
point was I
e7.
exchanged
Yeah,
queens.
yeah. King f8?
Oh, bishop e5, is it? No, but then also knight e5. So maybe bishop to b2 and queen at 6.
And Nepo makes a mistake. Soumya.
Oh my God. Rook d6? Is it a mouse slip in an OTB game?
No, he wants rook takes c6 now, but this is a mistake. Guys, Buddy Pranav is back. क्या चल रहा है?
Can we go for a simple queen c7 now, Harshit?
Then rook d7 ना? नहीं rook d7 थोड़ा नहीं आ रहा है. क्या रे? Rook d7 तो भी defended है.
Rook d1 and then rook d7 with your was your point. But queen c7 not the best move, but it is a defend. It is a move that does defend. There is a better move though. Rook d6. Let's find it. Is it rook f7 anyway? Oh yes, rook f7, Harshit, somehow. This move, allowing bishop to f6. Oh, now bishop to f6.
Now king f8. Maybe, right? Because the e7 pawn is defended.
Yeah, king f8. I mean, yeah, maybe king f8. Rook f6, queen b3 is not a perpetual because queen comes back and defends the perpetual. That's why king f8 might be the way. Wow.
Yeah, king f8. And
now this rook and king ka combination is enough to defend against checkmate.
yeah, and is the camera stuck? I guess the camera is stuck. But Pranav has the opportunity of playing rook to f7 now. Ooh la la. Pranav back. Yes. Pranav, if we go to the live position, yeah, we get the cameras. Oh, he plays rook f7. Let's go.
Wow, incredible. Pranav up for it. He gets the chance and he manages to defend. In fact, surviving this position for 26 moves, that itself is a feat. ऊपर से he induced a mistake from Nepo in a winning position for white, in fact. And he finds the best defense.
Yeah, and let's see Nepo's reaction here. He takes the pawn on f6 instantly. I have a feeling that Nepo thinks he's winning here. But there is king f8. There is this move king f8 that Pranav has foreseen. King f8 is the only move here to maintain the balance.
I love Pranav's confidence. I mean, he looks so confident. He doesn't look like a player who's under stress right now. He just looks focused.
Yes.
Beautiful camera angle there.
Bishop f6. And now you could see Pranav looking at Nepo. Nepo, have you seen king f8? And now I'm double attacking both of your pieces. And Pranav is a bit surprised. Yeah, you can see. He's like, wait a second. King f8 and I'm completely back.
King f8, and in fact, how does black defend against the threat of e takes f6 as well as e takes d6? Rook d7 will be met with rook f6. King f8, not an easy move to face as white as well. Kya?
Yeah, king f8 will really pose tough questions on Yan. Guys, just to recap what happened today, it was Vincent and MVL who were leading the tournament with 7 out of 8. They drew their games. They went on to 7.5 out of 9. And Magnus and Aryan Chopra were on 6.5. We all thought Magnus will be a big favorite with white, but Aryan Chopra fought like a lion. He drew, reaching 7 out of 8. And this means that Vincent and MVL के बीच में likely Vincent who had the better tie breaks will win this tournament. And these players, Pranav and Jan Nepomniachtchi, are playing for the top 5 spots anyway. So it's a
Wow.
big match.
Absolutely. 7 points ensures a fantastic prize in this tournament. 6.5 पे बहुत सारे players tie हो जाएंगे. So we are not sure where the players will end up. That's why both the players would like to actually win the game instead of taking a draw. Bishop
And
f6 on the board.
Soumya, you could see Pranav's reaction, like hand just movement there. He was hovering around the black king and the rook. He can't move the rook. So it must be the king that he wants to move to f8. And buddy, let's not get under time pressure this time. Let's play king f8. Looking sharp there, buddy.
Ah, and you can see his fingers calculating, You can see
Yeah.
that gesture.
And I think Jan Nepomniachtchi
Post king
is...
f8.
Bravo.
Rook f7, king f8, two back to back. Amazing moves found by Pranav, neutralizing white's advantage completely.
And you can definitely see the sense of disappointment in Jan's face, because even the last round against Leon, he was completely winning and Leon managed to escape. Leon managed to escape and actually draw that game. Again, Jan was completely winning, but somehow he's escaping.
And Kireza Kalkaru says, isn't king f8 the most natural move, Harshit Bhai? But I think, the issue here is not only finding king f8. The issue was black had to defend so many moves together. So at some point, you tend to give up your resistance. At some point, you start to believe your opponent's attack much more than your defenses. So to find rook f7, king f8 is, in fact, not an easy decision. And kudos to Pranav for not giving up.
Yeah, I mean, this is very, very um, astute. What's the word? Astute defense?
Yes, and if it is not a word, we'll invent it, Harshit. Let's go.
Very nice. Jan having 19 minutes. So we are approaching the final few moments, final few moves from this game as well. As Harika has also equalized. Wow. What a swing of evaluations in the favor of the Indian players.
The last round proves to be the most dynamic one. Oh wow, Harika has a chance to even win, Harshit. Look at the white king on c1, dominated by the pawn on c3. You only need a check on f1 to checkmate white. No,
Yes.
really, I think this game could be played for 3 results instead of 2.
Yeah, a draw or a win for Harika would mean that her chances of qualifying, let me check actually what happened on the other boards, because she actually might qualify for the Weisenhaus event. That would be amazing.
Wow.
That would really be amazing, because Maria Muzichuk, who is drawing her game against Shamsuddin, and Stefanova, who is drawing. Yes, actually, if she draws, she has very good chances, Soumya.
It's amazing. There are a lot of players on 5 points, but they are all playing very strong opponents themselves.
And so, Harika also has good bukols, I think. So a draw would be huge for her. But she needs to find this idea of going knight b2 and knight takes d3.
Aha! And then rook a2 threatening rook a1. Checkmate knight b2 found by Harika.
Wow. She finds the best move here. Let's go.
In fact, the last 3 moves, Harshit, I want to just go back a bit. Rook ff2 के बाद white ने थोड़ी inaccuracy कर दी यहाँ पर rook g5. which gave black a chance to equalize, and black found three continuous amazing moves. C3 first. If pawn takes, are we going knight a4? Yes, apparently that is an option, but not the best one. Not sure. Maybe knight c4. Knight c4 and knight e3, knight into c2, knight a3 as well. So c3 was met with d3, and Harika found the next good move, knight to a4. Rook g1 met with knight to b2.
Yes, guys, Harika is defending really well against Jobaba, and she is also playing on the stage today. So despite of all the pressure, Harika, I think Harika is used to it. Harika has played on the biggest of stages. She has been part of the Olympiad gold winning team for Team India, and here playing in the freestyle event, she is defending well. By the way, the game of Hans and Murli is completely crazy. Oh wow. Murli Karthikeyan is playing with Hans Niemann, and Hans has played crazy moves, but Karthikeyan with a brilliant defense, Rook B2.
Hans is a rook down here. Rook d3 could be the way to pose more problems on white here. Queen g3, queen h3 incoming. क्या चल रहा है यहाँ पर?
Yeah, this is an absolutely crazy position. Rook D3 was also a very nice resource. I guess white will be forced to go Rook F2, and Harika gets up from her chair. Wow. Look at the confidence in Harika.
Harika, a three-time bronze medalist in the Women's World Championship matches, that too knockout. It's never too easy to win any kind of medal in the knockout World Cups or World Championships, guys. And Harika has done it not once or twice, but thrice. She's used to the big match pressure.
She is a big match player here. And after knight b2, she is threatening knight takes d3, rook takes a2. And as you said, all we need is one check on the last rank, and the black king will be checkmated. White king.
Exactly. Oof, tough times for the white king here. I think maybe rook a5 might be the only good way for white here. I don't see how white is preventing this checkmate otherwise.
I do think, by the way, that the game of Hans is also very interesting. So we will try to go between the game of
Yes.
Harika,
Yes.
Nepo, and Hans. I think these are the final three games of interest in this tournament for us.
Nepo
As
hasn't made a move yet, so
A3
let's go
played. A3 played. 1 second. Let's stay here. As A3 was just played by Badur.
What? A3?
Yeah.
What
And
is the
now
point?
93.
Oh, takes, rook A2. He wants to go rook B5, Harshit, and play rook to B1.
But rook b2 है ना? Rook b2 you take, and then king c2 rook a1 is not working out.
Sorry. What did you say? Please.
Yes, rook b2, but this doesn't work because you just take and you go king c2. So Harika has played a move. She plays a6 or a5.
Preventing rook b5. Prophylaxis.
Crazy. Wow. Brilliant move.
क्या ब्रिलियंसी है बॉस? इधर किसी को समझ में नहीं आएगी ये गेम अगर ऐसे ही देख ले तो, है ना?
मजेदार move.
ब्रिलियंट मतलब अलग लेवल का ब्रिलियंट. Too impressive. Preventing rook b5, threatening knight d3, takes rook a2, idea rook a1 checkmate. How do you prevent it? मेट हो जाएगी व्हाइट पर, मुझे लग रहा है Very good chances for Harika to actually win this. I don't want to hype it up unnecessarily, but I genuinely think so. Rook c5 might be a
He can
decent
win?
try here.
You
I
think
do
Knight
think
can
so.
win? No, no,
Yes.
no. How?
If not rook c5, I think defends. But otherwise, I'm threatening knight takes,
What
pawn
if, let's
takes.
say, Rook G7? How does White win?
Okay,
Black
knight
win.
takes.
King B1, if I even don't take it.
If you don't take it. If you don't take it, then it's a normal position. We continue playing. But if you take it, it's mate, right? Let's clarify that. Rook a2.
Oh, why? Wait. We're quickly going to Murli's game. What's happening there?
Rook
Some
d3. What
The
happened?
bar is going crazy.
He went. Okay. Rook b2 was the last move we checked.
Yes.
Queen e8.
Okay.
So now only an exchange up. Queen a2. Queen e4 check. King to g1. White is an exchange up. But black is the one who's attacking White's king. However, rook d3 may invite queen g8. That's
Ooh,
the idea of queen a2 actually.
ooh, Queen A2. Such a nice defensive resource by Murli. Uh-huh. I thought someone is winning, but no, it's still level. Okay. Okay.
Has he made a move after a6? Not yet.
Not yet. And we have a question by Amit Rao. Harshit and Soumya, is there any opening variation invented by Magnus?
Oh my god. Tough question. I don't think so. I've never heard of an opening invented by Magnus.
Yeah.
I think Magnus invented a new approach to chess.
He has not invented, but he has reinvented a lot of the openings.
Queen e3. You know, Adiban has invented an opening. Did you know that, Harshit? I found out 3 months ago.
The cow's opening?
No, it is a. I believe it's a line in the English opening.
Yes, this H5, C4, E5, knight
C3,
C3, knight F6, knight F3. Oh, and
knight
we have a
F3.
guest. Wow. We have Harika with us, Soumya.
Harika, what happened to your game?
I drew
Let's go.
in
Hi, Harika. Can you?
which side?
Yes, this is perfect. You drew your game. This was a very good result, right?
I want to
I
see.
tried my best. I don't know if what will be the final standing, but because it all comes down to the book holes, which
Oof.
no one has any idea on. But I know that I did my best comparatively, like with the opposition I played or something. I definitely did my best. Now it's all up to luck.
Arey, Harika, you've played such an amazing event, and also you've managed to time travel this time because we see you on the screen and you're here. Oh,
It was crazy game actually. I thought I should be lost some point, but luckily I had this forcing moves of C3, knight A4, knight B2. It was
yes.
like a study-like position.
Yes, actually, around this, like before Rook G5, we actually thought that you had a very difficult position.
Yeah, very difficult. I didn't know how to, but luckily, like, okay, I just had this chance. It's not like completely tied down, and I was hoping on this tactics.
And if C3, if he takes, then you have knight C4.
Yeah, knight C4. Then if B6, yeah, this should be just fine for black, I think. Then in the end also it got easier for me. It was exactly like study position. Knight A4, only like knight B to knight D3, very particular. I thought A3 is definitely not the try.
Mm-hmm.
It gave me, but in general I was thinking I can take knight B3, like whichever move, I don't know, like
Rook D5, let's say.
no rook. If you move rook, I have rook G2.
So let's say rook a5, rook g2 you want to play.
Yeah, this is a
Immediate draw.
yeah.
And rook g2, guys, is
Let's go.
lose. So yes,
So
this.
let's say instead of rook g2, if they play rook e1, there is at least like maybe, I don't know if it is better, but like rook into c2, knight c2, knight into d3, and then knight into king b1, knight into e1. King d1 is not possible. Rook d2 checkmate.
So king b1, knight into
Knight into
e1.
e1, and then rook h1.
H1.
Oh, fabulous. You calculated all of this, right?
I mean, I was in a desperate situation that I had to find somehow to survive. Then
It's amazing.
luckily he also didn't play accurately. It just got tricky.
So we don't have the full game yet because there is a 15-minute delay. So maybe you can show us what happened. A3 was played.
Yeah, a3 was played. I think his idea was king b1, king a2. I thought a6. I
A6
just did
was
very
so
quickly
good.
because whenever knight d3 and rook a2, I didn't want this rook b5 or knight b5 checks at some point. So I just played a6. Again, like having the same threat. Now he played, I think,
King b1.
b1.
Mhm.
I took knight into d3. Here, at least, maybe he should, I think it's already fine for black. Rook d5 he played.
Okay, so if it takes, you give a check and king c1, rook a2.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
And the
So
same,
rook d.
like, okay, now rook d5, rook fg2, it's a draw. That's how the game ended. Because
Nice.
rook into g2, rook h1 and knight c1 check. It's a draw. So here is this agreed draw.
Wow.
Fabulous.
But before that, there is also one more idea. If we go back a little bit,
Where should I go to? Rook d g1 or
couple of
a?
moves back, maybe instead of a3.
Okay.
So at some point, I don't know how the order. My idea was knight into d3, c into d3, rook into a2. Even if you get like rook b5, rook a1 check, rook b1, again rook a2. I couldn't find anything for white.
Let's say E4, we can try to make it.
Yeah, so let's say e4.
Takes. Rook
Now
B5.
check.
Rook b5, rook a1 and rook b1 and rook a2.
Oh,
And
Harika,
then C2.
strong.
I mean, I didn't even see c2. Maybe it's possible. Okay, then I could have done before. Maybe I don't know.
This is too good, man.
Oh, actually, maybe it's even possible, huh? If like instead of rook a1 check, maybe I had c2.
But then knight B3.
Okay.
Where? At which
I
point do
think
you?
c2, but in general, I saw this position white can't move.
Yeah.
So I assumed like somehow it should be foldable.
Yeah, no, it was very good assessment. This is a draw, yeah, because C2 is a threat and your rooks are so good. But actually, Soumya, I was telling you that in the morning round, we finished the commentary, then I went down and I see one game is remaining and Harika is playing.
Yeah, crazy.
And she was playing against a young boy, Bishop Endgame. And if you actually open that game,
He is clearly winning for longest time, somehow in the time trouble, and I know that this win is needed for me. It is very much important. So I was trying to be very accurate, and he kept on finding resources. It was very irritating. He's a 13-year-old, and like he kept on finding resources in this less time. But I think it was a good game after a point. Maybe initially it wasn't great position, but then he made one error, and then immediately I got like a position to try.
And you won this bishop versus knight.
Yeah, they should be winning in many ways, I think. But because I had less time, I had to be, and we played like for so many hours, I had to be very accurate.
But in the start of the tournament, you said you're playing for the first time. Now you have played 9 games, but you played so well actually.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even know anything about freestyle. It's funny, like couple of when I decided to play, like Praneeth was there, and I asked him, like he likes freestyle. So I asked him, can you just show me the rules? Like I really want to know like how to play this, because I didn't even I never saw the games. I thought I would never play these tournaments. I never checked anything. And he was literally showing on the board couple of ideas, like how you have to open bishops and like few more things. And I was joking with him that if like he's my first coach of freestyle, and if any day I do well, I will tell his name. And
Wow.
just like from there it started, and I didn't have any clue. I think it's also a fresh feeling just to, see chess in a different way after all these years. So I did have fun. When tournament goes good, anyway, it feels good. But in general, I think it was very interesting for me to play like this.
And Harika, you played against some amazing players as well here. You drew against Levon Aronian, this one.
Yeah, I
Found
think overall my performance is decent. I would be very upset if I'm not in top three in women. Like if like I'm.
But you are at top 3 for sure, right?
No, it's not clear because
things so.
which horse like can change any round. Though I played the best opposition, there is always probability not to. But I mean, if that happens, I would just say it's bad luck. But I know that I did best. Like I've always been on top boards in the tournament. I played with some of the best players. So yeah, I mean, it will be very. I won't say I would be upset, but I will live with it if I'm not into top three. But if I'm into top three and get into world championship, that will be really a good moment to celebrate.
Yes,
And you know,
because, yes,
hmm.
Sam.
No, tell me.
Because the top 3 actually qualify for the Weisenhaus World Championship next year. And I think the spot there, I personally think that but let's wait until we get
I really hope so. But if there is any bad luck, because when I came here, I traveled like 24 hours. And I'm just playing this one tournament. So I came all the way from India just to play this. And I even my daughter had to go for her cousin's birthday to Thailand. And I left everything behind. I like literally left many things. It's her first time she traveled without me. I did many things just to play this tournament. So I mean, I kept telling it only makes sense if I'm into top three, or else the whole hard work would get wasted. I would say, it just before coming also, it was like very long journey. I had to travel via Qatar, which I booked like pretty long back, and I couldn't change much after that. And yeah, there were so many things that I thought it would make zero sense if I don't play well. So that also kept motivating me. But yeah, I hope it goes well.
I think making these sacrifices actually motivates you, Harika. Like every time, I feel so. Like you've done so well
I'm
here.
not saying it's sacrifice, but there were certain decisions which were critical. Let's say after all this, if I don't play well, like it would make zero sense to do all this effort. But I kept believing that I should like try my best. I believe that if I'm coming here, I have to play well. So it's not sacrifice, but a particular decision with gut feeling.
You played a lot of strong players here, Harika. Which was your favorite game?
Like definitely Levon's game. I mean, I won't say I played well, but I'm okay, happy with the result finally.
Yeah, I think this knight h2 move that you found, it was extremely crucial that you find it, no? Over here, remember Harshit, we were looking at this
Yes.
game live.
This felt like lost in many ways. I was like literally surviving somehow, but when he played rook d7, luckily I got this. Even not knight h2, still he can be fine, but I think queen d6 is the error. But I already saw after rook d7, e4, so that's the reason I took my chance. E4, maybe Indian says it's bad, but practically on the board it wasn't easy for him to find the best move.
Yes. No, I think it was super resourceful because we were struggling to find candidate moves for white over here, and you found knight h2, queen g6, and the drawback of rook d7, e4. Then you managed to put a lot of pressure on him actually.
Yeah, I mean, in the end I got chances, but like maybe Indian says it's better, but practically when you're on the board, you see bishop is on e1, and I had less time, so practically I took the decision. And it's been a while. I played someone about 300 points, so I was like enjoying with whatever I could do.
Yeah.
This
It's amazing.
Indian place it's better, but on the board it wasn't easy. Of course, I missed rook e5 completely. I was only bothered
Okay.
about the bishop on a1. I just repeated queen e4 and
No, but we were also discussing during commentary that the knight on g1 actually, g7 actually blocks the e8, e7, e6 squares, knight on
yeah.
f5, e7,
I just
g7.
forgot rook e5 is possible completely, but I think it's completely fine. I had to take this practical decision at that point of time. Because it
Amazing.
can even get tricky for
Yeah, and also I feel like with this time situation, I think it was, and
Yeah.
these decisions actually sometimes in the tournament that you take really shape up the tournament. Yeah, and maybe this draw that you made, it was a good decision, and then in the next day.
Also, when I played the third day, I lost with on the morning round, and then I got double black, and then I got param.
Ooh.
And it was like, if something goes wrong, it would be so depressing, like, to lose both the games in the day. And I think that draw was critical for me compared to any other day, because I really wanted to do well and like not at all lose. So double black, and I was like trying to maintain there. I think that was a pretty decent game. I had chances at some point, but okay, I didn't. And then it got tricky.
Oh, this game, we were following this, Soumya.
Yes, yes, yes. She put a lot of pressure on white, and Parham, all his pieces were tied up, in fact, in the opening.
Then, yeah, this was a very, very interesting game. But Harika, this approach of yours that you said that you kind of like made yourself believe that you are coming here only to qualify. This is interesting because we have some players who kind of want to go to a tournament to just want to give their best, but you have kind of this approach that this is my goal and this is why I came here.
If you see comparatively to most of the women players here, for me it's much harder. Like, coming from completely, like longer distance, it's like too much of effort comparatively to others.
Correct.
So it's not just a tournament, but if you are doing all this, it should try to make sense. Still, I mean, I would be very upset.
We should
if
check
it's not-
actually.
No, we can't know until the final standings.
Until the last game is over, we
True,
won't get
true.
the final standings.
Until our opponents.
But there might not even be 3 players with the same points as you.
No, there will be many. Because there are many players down players.
Correct.
Yes, yes. Maybe
But
performance.
I didn't say that I am satisfied. I could do whatever best I could on each game. So I'm satisfied with the tournament. Now it's like luck that I'll forgive myself if something goes wrong.
You played an amazing event, Harika. We are so thrilled that you played here. First of all, we could watch your games. We were covering your games almost every day, and to see you finish at the top feels great. I hope we'll see you more in freestyle events, and I really wish you'll qualify for the Freestyle World Championship next year.
Thank you. I mean, it's been really fun. I felt like a beginner, completely as if I started chess, and I was enjoying a lot. And in fact, I didn't even know half the rules. And I was wondering on the board when I got with Leon Lavender.
Oh,
blender.
Do you remember this game?
Yes.
Soumya, that was actually.
I couldn't believe it. He blended. So I was wondering if he can castle when I give check. According to chess, it's not possible, but he played so far. I was wondering, like maybe in freestyle, if there is any where I can just rotate, like he can do cafe. And I was really
Because that would make sense, yeah?
Yeah, if like he is such a strong player, he's playing this fast. I thought like okay, then I said like okay, let me live with it. What can I do? But luckily he gave. Then after castling, I took rook a4. At some point, I had to castle. And I didn't know because king is on g1. Generally, we touch king. I didn't know which king to touch. And it's funny. I was so careful. I was even asking my opponent only, can you? He started laughing on the board. I genuinely didn't know most of the rules here. I was just like figuring out, learning day by day. I understand it's in general chess you touch king, but
Yeah.
I didn't know
If you
it
touch the king F1, then
Yeah,
it's like
then,
very sad. Yeah.
then I forgot that rook on H1 anyway can't move, so I should
Yeah.
have just touched it. But there are just so many funny things like this, which happened here. Yeah, I enjoyed like a beginner. I had fun. I enjoyed chess, I think, after a long time. No rating, nothing, just to give your best, and the tournament is so strong. Yeah, it was great.
And I forgot actually. So you actually played 3 2700, 4
Yeah,
almost.
almost four. Like let's say 2680s, but
Yeah.
almost 2700.
Yeah. So this was like
That's what I was saying. I think I played the toughest opposition
Yeah,
possible here.
hard.
And if I don't still qualify, that would be really upsetting because I know that I played the best opposition.
best opposition. And I have like one final question. Do you think that if freestyle also had rating, and then Soumya, if you also have something, if freestyle had a rating, do you think it would be less enjoyable? Because then there will also be like this rating factor that you would need to consider.
Definitely, if it would have been of importance, let's say right now, even if it is there, like I don't know if it's there or not, I assume because in chess results that's shown plus minus.
Mhm.
Even if it is there, until it doesn't make any importance, I don't think it really matters so much.
Mhm.
But yeah, just actually I understood not to know anything also is fun. I didn't know rules, I didn't know rating, I didn't know anything. I was just enjoying and focusing on chess, just moves.
It's interesting actually. On one hand, you didn't really prepare as such for the tournament. On the other hand, your attitude was spot on. You were like, no, I have to give my best no matter what. Even if I don't know the rules, I'm going to give my best and finish as high as possible. Yes, Harika?
Yeah, for sure. Like, okay, finally it's chess, yeah, which we are playing from so many years. So I assume that even though I came without too much of expectation, like each game I was okay, like figuring out where to put pieces, what to do. I think the new feeling initially let me actually play stress free because I was more focused on where to put pieces, how to develop in the opening, then to make it normal chess, and from there to fight. Yeah, I didn't even get chance to worry about anything actually.
Harika, we really enjoyed following your games. Do you know where you're playing next?
Uh, I want to say one more thing. I think whatever, despite of any result I would get, I was very happy to play on the stage on the last.
Oh,
So
Yes.
I was like, even when I got worse, so I was like, okay, let me enjoy. I came all the way. I played on the stage, and it's fine. Whatever happens. There. And about next, I don't know what I'm playing actually. It's very unclear. There are no tournaments. Sharjah got postponed. Though I wanted to play open tournaments, not many without too many double rounds. So yeah, I don't have. It's very unclear
I think
what I'm playing.
I think it would be great to see you playing again because you're in such good shape. It feels like after this event that if there is an event, maybe we should just play. Yeah.
No, maybe, but because we get so used to not get so many double rounds at some point, I mean, it's hard to take such decisions. But yeah, I think I want to keep it like this and just try to see what to play next later on.
Yeah.
Harika. Thank you so much for joining us. Take care, take rest,
Thank you.
and
Thank you.
wish you good luck. We are really thrilled for you.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Thank you, Harika. Guys, what a day today it was for us. We had Aryan Chopra who drew against Magnus Carlsen, and then Harika drew this very important game against Badu, and she now puts herself in a position to qualify for the Freestyle World Championship in Weissenhaus. But unfortunately, the last Indian player going on, Buddy Pranav, seems to be going down as he's shaking his head. He's down a whole piece.
He is. He is down a whole piece, and yeah, there were some chats that Nepo missed the mating line, but he is going to eventually win, and that seals the deal for him, I guess.
Yeah, this is gone, unfortunately for him. But Leon won his game against Cartridge, and Leon moves on 7 out of 8. Wow.
Wow. 7 out of 8, an amazing score in this tournament. What about Nihal? He has drawn, so he finishes on 6 points.
Mm-hmm.
What about the other Indians? Let's have a look. Murli Karthikeyan is still playing. He's an exchanger, but Hans has 3 pawns for an exchange. Apparently an equal position, but if anyone can try, it's black, right?
Yeah, I think black, yeah, for sure it is black who will play for a win. But look at how sad Buddy is. He was on 6 out of 7, Soumya, and he's losing the final 2 games back to back. And he's feeling the emotions. They are coming to him right now as the adrenaline calms down. This is tough to see. He played such a good event. Even this game, he was making a comeback. He makes some moves in respite here. Pawn to h6. Bishop takes g5. Look at Nepo there. He just takes the pawn because the king pawn endgame is winning after rook f3 check. And Yan is going to move to 7 out of 8. I still will, we still need to, applaud Pranav for how well he has fought and give him support during this tough last, and he resigns. Handshake here.
Yes, absolutely. He almost equalized. King f8. King f8, rook f7 and king f8, a fantastic resource found by him in the game. It was enough to equalize, but after bishop e5, he went wrong here. He had to find some difficult moves here, Harshit. As per our friend Stockfish 18, queen f2 was the move to equalize.
That's too tough. Yeah, that's very, very tough.
It's a tough move.
Very tough.
Rook d8 was played by black, but f6 found by Nepo. What a move. Nepo
Yes.
was in serious form in this game, even though for a few moments here and there he did mess up. He has found some amazing resources throughout the game, Harshit.
Yeah, no, great game by both players, and great to see Pranav still having the curiosity and the inquisitiveness to understand where he went wrong and learn from one of the best players in the world, Nepo. This quality of Pranav, I'm sure, is going to take him to the distance. He's now rated 2660. He's inching closer and closer to the coveted 2700 rating. And this experience against the top players will be very useful for him. Soumya, I think we are in the final stage of our stream in this event. It has been 9 rounds that we have been, covering this event. I think it is going to be Vincent and MVL who are going to be getting the championship here. It will be decided by tie breaks, but likely it's going to be Vincent.
Yes.
And so many exciting games. In India, very often it was getting late, it was early, but you stuck with us, you stuck with me for all of this time. And I am very appreciative actually that you joined us. I think everyone really enjoyed having you. So thank you so much actually.
Actually, it's the same for you, Harshit. You had to wake up really early for the streams every day. We had a lot of ground to cover on an everyday basis because it was almost 8.5 hours of commentary. I'm sure it must have been tough for you as well. So I really enjoyed it as well. And I learned a lot of new things because it was my first time covering the freestyle event. So definitely, like Harika said, I felt like a beginner. And I'm looking forward to covering more events with you. I hope the chat enjoyed it. And congratulations to the winners in advance.
Guys, also thanks to, everyone behind working. We had Abhudaya here who was making the interviews and making pictures. We also had Prajwal who was supporting this tournament, and he was present with us here in Karlsruhe, Soumya. Then we also had a lot of people making recaps in the back end. We had producer Vivek Bhai who was, making sure that the stream is up and running. So thanks a lot to everyone. And guys, tomorrow, me and Abhudaya will go to Cyprus to cover the second half of the candidates. And I'm very, very excited for that. But for now, this is it. We are signing off from Karlsruhe Grenke Masters. See you guys
And girls. Bye.
and girls.